Someone make it make sense.
Probably a couple.
Hello, everybody. Squirrel friends of the world. I love you guys so much. Welcome on in. Shout out to James, who's first in the chat, and I think also the first like. Shout out to P. Fox. And also, it looks like we have a new squirrel friend, Colby. Welcome on in. Happy to see you. And have you been watching like on Replay Crew? No matter what, welcome to the Squirrel Crew. We love everybody that's here. And she says, thank you, Chelsea, for reading materials out loud. I am blind and truly appreciate it. You're very, very welcome. And you're not the only one. Actually, we have another squirrel friend, Flash, who's not blind, but kind of like almost blind. And he oftentimes expresses things that he can't see. So also shout out to Flash as well, naturally. And shout out to Donna. Welcome back, my friend, who says smash the like button. Awesome. Appreciate that, you guys. So yeah, we are back for more. I sent Twiz his special text. So he said he's not going to be doing his drunk stream tonight because he's too tired. We'll see. Maybe we can convince him to take that back. But he said he would still be here for our live stream. So hopefully that will happen. And Donna saying Chelsea is such a good reader. Thank you so much. I did go to school. So that paid off, huh? So yeah, we covered last night. We did parts 1 through 13. And actually, I finished timestamps on that one. And there's some really fun timestamps, but I'm going to save that for when Twiz gets here because a lot of them have to do with Twiz. There were a lot of amazing Twiz moments last night, but also a lot of really interesting things that we learned from these documents. Another thing we've talked about too, because we haven't watched it yet, is the sentencing from yesterday. And so let me know, guys, if you guys want to watch any portions of that. We could watch the whole thing. We could watch only some of it. Maybe you guys only want to see the press conference, whatever the case may be, let me know. And we will make that happen as well. And of course, we've got plenty of documents to go through in the meantime, regardless of any of that too. So yes, indeed. And let me see if I had anything else I was going to say at the outset here. I guess that's it for the announcements at this juncture. I've got a little list here. Isn't Nightbot just the best? We love Nightbot. He's such a cutie. He's got his tiny hands, but a big heart. And he's got his little festive ear tassels, which I just love. They're just adorable. We love Nightbot. So what we'll do is we'll just jump on in and start reading here to kick things off. Zoom in a little bit here. For those of you guys who want to follow along with the reading on the screen, if you can see it. Let's see how that does. Okay, cool. So here's where we left off with supplemental report number 14. All right, so let's get into it here, guys. And who's this? This is Vargas. All right. Interviews with neighbors. Excellent. So King Road, right, with Sergeant Blaker to observe the scene. Okay. I walked through the house and around the outside of the residence, along with other investigators looking for possible evidence. ISP investigators were on the scene, walking through for a second time, looking for additional evidence. I walked around the south side of 1122 King Road, up the hill and along the fence line for something Walenta. The backyard for blank Walenta backs up to the backyard area of 1122 King Road. I spoke with SG, but it's not Steve Gonsalves. It's a different SG. I think it's the neighbor here at blank Walenta and asked for his permission to look through his backyard area, which he said I could. SG told me he was a person who previously called dispatch to provide information about what he observed. I told SG after looking over the area and through the residence on King Road, I would come back and get a statement from him. I did not locate anything of interest in the backyard of blank Walenta or on the hillside behind 1122 King Road. I walked into 1122 King Road and looked through the house with other investigators. The following four evidence items were collected by ISP Talbot inside 1122 King Road on November 14th, 2022, and turned over to me on scene. ISP took photos of the items in the places they were collected from. Excellent. See, that's how it's done. Massachusetts, take notes. I booked the following items into MPD evidence. A copy of the evidence property receipt relating to these items is attached electronically to the case file. So we've got a rolled $2 bill. Wait, a $2 bill? A $2 bill. Is that a real thing? I don't know that I've ever seen one. Is that a real thing? That's got to be worth more than $2, I would think, because I don't think that's... Anyways, y'all let me know. Have you ever seen a $2 bill? Located on the desk in something, something, something. And then we have blue powder, suspected drugs, located on the desk. A lot of you guys were asking about this last night with the blue powder drugs, and we hadn't gotten here yet. This is the first time that we are seeing this in these documents because we're going in sequential order. Also, this is some highlighting material, I would say, as well. So we're going to highlight this because fascinating. And then here we have the first appearance of this. So as far as this goes, I think some of you guys were asking about things like fentanyl and things of that nature. You know, if it's blue powder, it's probably a pill that's been crushed. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about what other pills that are blue that might be likely to be seen among college students. And I do believe that there's some Adderall. You guys let me know. I do believe that there's some Adderall pills that are blue. And I know because I have an ex-boyfriend who used to take Xanax. I know there's also Xanaxes that are blue. I would say either one of those are probably far more likely. And actually, maybe the Adderall is probably the most likely of all because college, but also I could see Xanax too. Y'all let me know if there's anything else that you could think of that's like a common blue pill. And welcome, Candace. Happy to see you. Donna is seconding that, saying yes, they are rare. Are they worth more than $2? I'm curious about that. So shout out to Candace and happy to see you. So then we also have a blood sample, another blood sample. I spoke with the following people who live at blank Walenta. My conversations with SG, these are their neighbors. They were recorded and electronically attached. Okay, cool. Okay, so here is what this first neighbor said. So-and-so, SG, told me the following. He woke up a couple of times on Saturday night. He looked at the clock, saw it was 4:17, and said at about 5 minutes of waking up, he heard a dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King. So we were talking about this last night about was potentially Murphy on the balcony of Kaylee's room? Because if Murphy was out on the balcony, that would answer a lot of the questions that were we talked about from last night. For example, Murphy not going into the rest of the house, or, there were other reports about Murphy being outside for long and also the barking. Thinking about it, right? If Murphy was inside the house, would the neighbor have heard the dog? Would a neighbor hear him barking? And I don't really know the answer to that. That kind of depends on a lot of things. There's some houses where if a dog is inside and barking, you might hear it, and then others where you might not. Depends also on the dog. However, this is different in the sense that this neighbor clearly articulates that the barking was outside. And so if Murphy's outside and not wandering around in the streets, he's got to be on that balcony, right? Hey, Franks, welcome. What page am I up to? Well, each one of these is a different number of pages. So we're on supplemental report number 14 on page 2. So that might be what you were kind of looking for, was which supplemental report. But supplemental report 14, page 2. And also, shout out to Franks. So, okay. The neighbor said he was going in and out of sleep, and after an hour at around 5 o'clock, he still heard the dog barking outside. Very clear about that from the direction of 1122 King. His bedroom is on the far northeast side of blank Walenta and is outside of his window, and said if it turned... Oh, sorry, I missed a spot here. He said there's a motion light outside of his window, and if it turned on, he would have noticed it. He said he's lived in the residence since January and has not heard the dog. Again, very clear about the outside. Heard the dog barking outside before in the middle of the night. This, again, just still to me points to that Murphy might have been on that balcony. Franks is on report 101. That is very impressive. Amazing. Hey, anybody have any guesses as to what Frank's been doing since, 5 o'clock yesterday? I have some thoughts because Frank's being on Report 101. Yeah. And she says she won't spoil anything. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, outside is mentioned many times here. I next spoke with, and this is another neighbor. He told me on the 13th he woke up around 2:30 and left the house around 3. He said he had an extended training day and it lasted 12 hours. He went to work for training at 3 a.m. or what? I guess he went to training at work or whatever at 3 a.m. He said he finished his extended training day at around 1800 hours at Buffalo Wild Wings. Well, why is there always, first of all, there's always a Buffalo Wild Wings, it seems, in these cases. But 1800 hours, hold on. Yeah, he left. That's wild. He left around 3 a.m. What the fuck? Is this a 24/7 Buffalo Wild Wings or what? All right, so let me read this again. So he finished his extended training day at around 1800 hours. So that would be like, what is that? Like 6 p.m. Arrived home at around 6:30. He said he was with approximately 20 members and did not notice anyone who should have been there. Who should have been there was not there. Like none of his coworkers were missing. I don't know that's why would that? Okay, whatever. He did not remember hearing anything in particular when he woke up or left around 2:30 or 3. Again, that's a.m. He did not hear the dog barking. Then this officer spoke with another neighbor. He said he did not hear a dog barking at any point. He said he'd been out at the bars on the evening of the 12th and got home around 2:30. He sleeps with earplugs in. He said his sister mentioned she saw Maddie at some point at the corner club. And then this neighbor provided this officer Vargas with his sister's phone number. Shout out to the sister. Oh no, Frank's, Nightbot's not working again. That is so funny. Nightbot has a love-hate relationship apparently with Frank's command. That is so funny. It worked for several months straight and now it's back on another streak here. All right, so we got this one done. Let me save it. Why is it not? Oh my God, it's not letting me save it. Hold on. We'll just save it later. Okay, next up, we are on number 15. So now we've got Aaron Morris. I think we had one from him already last night. Okay. So somebody came to Moscow PD to speak with Officer Rosinski and him regarding an incident possibly related to the homicide. They stated that on 10/21/22, an unidentified white male came into the women's center and asked to speak with someone. So somebody spoke to the male. She stated he asked for snacks. It's always the snacks. And appeared to be under the influence. She stated the interaction only lasted about 5 minutes. She stated the male said he had a female friend who was in an abusive relationship. The male stated he was afraid the female would be hurt by her boyfriend and was also afraid he would hurt the boyfriend due to the abusive behavior. The person at the women's center here did not gather any names and never seen the male before. So he came in, asked for snacks. Very odd. This is odd. Okay. Then they asked both. I don't know who these are. These two people. So one person is the same person who wanted the snacks, who came in under the influence. The second person came with him, I guess. And they asked if they had any other contacts with any of the victims. They said they did not. They did not have any of their contacts documented. And then on 11/15 at approximately 11:50 hours, another person came into the substation. I was told by Corporal Payne that this person went to Gritman on 11/13/22 to seek medical care for cuts on his hands. I asked this person what happened to his hand. He stated that on 11/12 at around 2000 hours, he cut his hand attempting to cut chicken for a sandwich. Attempting to cut chicken. Oh boy. He stated he was intoxicated and when he was trying to cut the meat, his pocket knife slipped and cut his hand. Well, okay, first of all, right from the outset, right? He's trying to cut chicken for a sandwich using a pocket knife. What could possibly go wrong? I hope he cleaned the pocket knife first. Anyway, wow. Guys, I mean, I guess, you know, college kid, right? I guess he doesn't own cutlery, you know, I guess I could see that. You know, I remember having friends in college, especially if they were like freshmen or whatever, sophomore dudes that like did not have silverware and like plates and shit, and like also never had toilet paper. It's like, always the thing. It's like, why don't you have toilet paper in your house? It's like, what are you doing? Like, it's amazing how they survived. I mean, you know, it's like, how did they make it through to this? So, I asked when he went to the hospital. He read his wristband from the hospital and said he went in at 11:13 at 1400 hours. Wild. And Frank says, I have half a mind to spend several days putting these in date order. It's hard to follow because it jumps around so much. Yeah, I guess they're in order. I guess the way that it would be is that they're in order in which they're submitted, right? But then sometimes they might actually be recounting events and then not get to submit them until like the next day. Is that kind of what you've discovered, Franks? So that, in other words, they could be talking about dates that happen. Yeah, that they would make the actual the dates where events happened out of order because of when they were submitted potentially. And Amelia's here. Excellent. Thank you also so much for your very kind comment on, I guess it was last night's video. Happy to see you as well. And also shout out to your husband, Doug, or hubby, or man, or partner, whatever you want to call him. Shout out to Doug and Amelia. But was the chicken raw or cooked? For sure. We, the people, need to know. Yes. Of all of the burning questions that we have in this case, you know, that are unanswered at this juncture and might remain unanswered, some of them might get answered as we go through this, but not all of them will. Perhaps the most burning of all is this one. Was the chicken raw or cooked? Yeah, I mean, because it's definitely entirely possible that the chicken was raw. And you know what? It would be slippery, and that would add to the danger. You've got raw chicken, you've got a pocket knife, and then you've got drunkenness. And yeah, recipe for injury. Kit Smiths, long time no see, my friend. Has a lot of catching up to do. Awesome. Happy to see you. And also you're driving. Yes, drive safely, please. Oh, Frank says eventually jumps from January back to November and then back again. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. That is interesting. I wonder why it does that, but we will see when we get there. It's fascinating. And where's Twiz? Let me see if Twiz texted me. Twiz said, KK, classic Twiz. I'll be there in a bit. Okay, wonderful. And now he should be situated back to where he might be able to do Twiz Reads, one of our favorite segments here. Although it was awesome having him at the picnic tables last night because we got to see Twiz demonstrations, washing his feet, Rubik's Cube, all kinds of stuff. All right, so he read his wristband. Excellent. Okay, he told me he lived at the blank house. The laceration was on his right hand. He sent me a photograph of the injury and I attached it to the case. They asked him if he knew any of the victims. He stated he had seen Ethan 2 times at parties, but did not know any of the females. He said the blank sister house was blank. He said it was a national standard, but he had friends from multiple sororities. He ran the officer through his weekend from Saturday morning. He stated he slept in Saturday morning, woke up around 9:30. He went to the treehouse, which was a blank outhouse located at outhouse. I thought it was a frat house located at Taylor Avenue somewhere. He said he spent the whole day there watching the game. He said he left the treehouse at around 19:30 hours and went back to the something on Elm Street. He said he was drinking all night and finally went to bed on 11/13/22 at around 4 a.m. He said he was with his friends, and then there's redacted friends' names all night. He provided phone numbers. Officer Rosinski talked to the people, or a person, later at the treehouse, or I'm guessing it's the treehouse. This person said he and the other person were walking down the stairs when so-and-so missed a step and fell into the window. Boy, so this one person's had a lot of injuries in a very short period of time. We have the whole chicken hand disaster with the cuts. Now he's missed a step and he fell into a window. I guess it's better than falling out of a window, if you put it into perspective that way. fall into a window versus falling out of a window. He said at the time neither him or the injured, accident-prone person saw any blood. Oh, and then here we go. He was cutting the chicken and saw the injury. He was extremely intoxicated and thought he cut his hand while cutting the chicken, but believed he cut it on the glass. Okay, hang on. What? So now they're saying he didn't cut his hand doing the chicken. He cut it on. All right. What is happening? That is table that, because yes, Twiz, you got 7 minutes. For anyone who missed it, one of the many amazing Twiz moments last night, he gave his many reasons why 2 minutes is more than enough time and things should be done in less than 2 minutes. And he gives a lot of reasons for that opinion. And I believe I have that time stamped as well. Welcome, Mary. Happy to see you. Oh, and the bingo, classic. And then Amelia is letting us know that her and Doug will be married 22 years on August the 9th. They have an anniversary coming up. I'm going to make a note of that. You guys probably, if there's a live stream that night, you guys probably won't be there. But if you are, if there's a live stream and y'all are there, I'll make sure to give you guys a shout out for your anniversary on August the 9th. And congratulations. All the early rumors have become factual. You know, I don't think I actually even know what the early rumors are. So that's great. The element of surprise will be going strong with me in this one. What Kid says, what sort of things, Twiz? Right. Yes. Dude, the Twiz moments from last night, there were so many that were they're so worth watching, you guys, if y'all missed them. And again, when he gets here, we're going to recount them because the timestamps alone are hilarious. Welcome, Need Some Z's. Happy to see you, my friend. I'm just going to make a note here on my list. Okay. So yes, this is a mess. You know, I think that we're seeing a lot of issues here due to the level of drunkenness that is going on. It's like, was it the chicken? Was it the pocket knife? Was it the glass falling into a window? I mean, it's a lot. So this is just craziness. So yeah, okay. Is it gonna, why does it, dude, sometimes it highlights it nicely and then other times it's like, no, I'm gonna make it terrible. Okay, he fell into the window and then he was cutting the chicken. So it's like, not only was he so intoxicated that he had the chicken incident or whatever, but he was so intoxicated that he thought he cut his hand with the chicken incident, but really it was from the window. I mean, this is wild. Are we ever going to find out the truth about this? I really want to know. I guess this is the friend that believes he cut it on the glass. Does the accident-prone person still believe he cut it on the chicken? Is this one word against the other? Like, do we have one person's like the chicken person's like, yeah, I cut it with the chicken, and then is the friend like, nah, homie, it was the window? Time will tell, hopefully. So again, the accident-prone friend said he was willing to sign a consent form for medical records if we needed them. He could not remember, and then here we go. He could not remember if he cut his hand on the window or with the knife. Oh, man. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, all of this says to me dangerous situations here, because adding to the mix, it's like when you're also too drunk to even remember how you got your injuries, like problems. He said his friends told him to go to the hospital to make sure that there was not glass in his hand. The officer went with this dude to the house. He showed me the window they found broken. I photographed the window and attached it to the case. So it doesn't seem like it's a window from 112 King, I guess. I mean, they would have notated that, right? It's just some other random window. Wild. So then this officer responded to something. A person of interest lived there. The officer confirmed that they lived alone. They said they did not offer free internet service to tenants through something. Somebody learned or said they could not see who used the service. They asked the person if any of their tenants tried to get out of their leases recently, and they said no. They said that this person, who's a person of interest, started his lease on July 18th, 2022. The employee remembered this person because his father was adamant on getting him the apartment. Interesting. The officer responded to the CC place that we don't know what it is to see if this person who's a suspect, or person of interest rather, utilized the internet service they provided. The employee gave me a paper with all tenants from something Queen Road that used it. And this person, who's a person of interest, did not use the service. On 11/16, the officer was asked to follow up on individuals connected to the victims or people of interest. And then there's a fuck ton of names that are redacted. I called the Dean of Students' office for phone numbers for some people. Then the officer started making some phone calls, and one person stated they were at their house in Boise. Someone else said they lived together in Meridian. Passes this in, a lot of this is tough with the redactions. Okay, addresses, check. Good, good. Oh, thank you. It's the hoodie guy. Thank you, Need Some Z's for that. Thank you. This is really funny. Amelia saying, hearing all this nonsense has me side-eyeing my own college kids. For real. Yeah. Please make sure that their chicken is cooked. Please make sure they have proper cutlery and that they are not utilizing said cutlery when they're completely fucking shit-faced. Was it BK? Was it not? The possibilities are endless. Yeah, for sure. Need Some Z's, though, is doubting that they were all very wasted. Interesting. That is interesting. And I mean, I think that there can be law enforcement incompetence, but also drunken. I mean, I think both things can be true. You know, the other thing too is, right, when you've got like, okay, I never had any, okay, I don't think I ever had a single friend or knew anyone who was in a frat or a sorority. Okay. However, part of the whole thing, to my understanding, with fraternities and sororities is like the drinking is like really out of control, right? Let me know, guys, what you guys know about that. If you have experience with being in one or knowing people, and you know, there's different kinds, right? But like where I went to college, they had the types that seem to be similar to what we have here, where it's like the drinking is next level. So, and seeing as how a lot of these kids seem to be related to or in fraternities and sororities, it really wouldn't surprise me if they were all fucking shit-faced. But again, also the incompetence is still there, you know, on behalf of law enforcement. Yeah, again, both things can be true. And I wonder too if like they wrote some of this off just because they're like, these kids are so drunk they don't fucking know what's going on. I mean, again, that sounds like incompetence. Whether or not the kids were actually drunk, that sounds like incompetence. But also, I think the kids could have been that drunk potentially. So, Amelia's asking about the early medical records. I think those were pertaining to Bryan Kohberger. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong because there's been a lot of requests for different records, but let me know which records you're thinking of specifically. Because I know there were requests for certain records of like, or I guess it was more like being able to use them in mitigation or whatever. And it was like certain things from like before 5th grade, for example, were like not considered relevant. But that's when that's as it pertains to like Bryan Kohberger, for example. Oh, thank you, Need Some Z's. The CB name is Kohberger, one of the guys whose DNA was found under Maddie's nails. Thank you. I probably won't remember all of these names, but I appreciate you guys knowing them, and you guys can always feel free to remind me. It's a lot of names and it's a lot of initials, and I will do my best. I'll probably remember Cole. We can go with that. So yeah, appreciate that though. Need Some Z's is clarifying. I said I don't doubt, meaning, oh, okay, sorry. I might have misread that. Sorry, I might have missed the don't. Thank you for clarifying. And look who's here. It's a Twiz. Hi, Twiz.
Yo.
Did you get any sleep?
I slept like 20 minutes this morning.
Did you end up falling asleep at all last night?
A little bit.
Okay.
Not enough.
Are you still too tired to do your drunken live stream? We were really looking forward to that.
Yeah, not tonight. We'll do that tomorrow.
Okay, we're holding you to it.
I couldn't believe I couldn't sleep last night.
I know.
Fell asleep and then I wake up and I couldn't fall back asleep and like my head was pounding. It was annoying.
So for anyone who missed it, Twiz was like super fucking tired last night, like so tired that he was more drunk than even these drunk individuals. You know, he would have had a chicken incident potentially. And you know, he was like deliriously tired. And then when we got off the live stream and he was supposed to be going to sleep, he was still awake and he was texting me. He's like, he was still awake. And then eventually I didn't get any more text messages. And I was like, I guess he fell asleep. But then I guess it wasn't for very long.
And then I woke up again.
And then he woke up. There it is.
Terrible.
So one of the things I was saving for when Twiz got here is recounting some of the especially amazing moments from last night's live stream. And I'm going off of timestamps. So not only are these amazing moments, but these are timestamped because I'm using the timestamps. And I think Twiz will get a kick out of this. So let me read some of these to you guys. These are highlights from last night involving Twiz. So we've got.
This sounds like a terrible idea.
This is a great idea. I love it already. We've got, okay. How Twiz inadvertently started the overnight line. Twiz almost learned 2 new words. Twiz's scuttlebutt feels great. Twiz demonstrates washing his feet. Twiz's otter dog. Twiz demonstrates Rubik's Cube. Twiz story time. Are Twiz's feet still wet or just cold? Twizzle Magdalene. I think that's the last one that has Twiz in the actual timestamp. Twizzle Magdalene is great. So the Rubik's Cube demonstration, I don't know. It would be hard to pick a favorite. Like if I had to choose between the Rubik's Cube demonstration or the foot washing demonstration, it's toss up. I don't know. They're both fantastic. So, but nothing will ever top the otter dog. I was getting ready for work this morning and I started just thinking about that. And I just like fell over laughing, just thinking about it. Amazing.
Down syndrome pit bull, you know?
Right. It's an otter, guys, just to clarify.
Pretty sure it's a Down syndrome pit bull.
Oh my God. Freaking amazing. Kits is happy to see you, Twiz.
What up, Kits?
There we go. So are you able to do Twiz reads tonight, Twiz?
No, I'm still tired.
Excuses. So last night it was too small to see it, but now it's too tired. Okay,
no, last night I was too tired.
Oh.
And then it was small.
So where did I read? Okay, I read all that. Somebody from DOS came to the ISUB, stated he had information regarding the homicide. I don't know why they capitalized it. That's weird. Somebody first stated the DOS officer had a debrief to check in on everyone. Somebody's name was brought up. I think that might be Hoodie Guy. He said it got him thinking because so-and-so had a recent care report put on him. Is this Hoodie Guy? Was Hoodie Guy's last name starting with a D? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Jack Decor. I just heard some crazy shit about Jack Decor. So
was it from these docs or?
Yeah.
Okay, well, no spoilers. We'll get there. He had a recent care report put in on him on 11/3/22. Hoodie Guy emailed the DOS saying he had a few different circumstances in my life that have substantially decreased my mental health. Somebody called Hoodie Guy. The person who called Hoodie Guy said Hoodie Guy seemed distant, distracted, and sad. This person also brought up the Grub Truck video. He said he was guessing, but he believed it was Hoodie Guy following the victims and hovering around them. This person who called also said that after finding out what happened to Hoodie Guy, was more concerned with his dog. Or not, what happened to him. Sorry, let me read that again. The person who is calling also said after finding out what had happened, Hoodie Guy was more concerned with his dog. I thanked the person who called for the information. I asked Hoodie Guy if he was able to provide the care reports I asked somebody else if they were able to provide the care reports for Hoodie Guy. And they did not seem hugely concerning, but would attempt to gather them.
What's a care report?
The care report, that's the mental health thing. DOS. What is DOS? Department of Safety? Let me Google that. See what that is. Not finding anything immediately. Let's see here. Mental health. Interesting. There's a Department of Health and Welfare, but that wouldn't be DOS. Interesting. He emailed the DOS saying does anybody know in the chat?
What did you search?
I searched Idaho DOS mental health because I'm trying to figure out what that stands for. It seems like the care report thing comes from the DOS. And also, I will note too, so someone put in the care report. So in other words, it wasn't Hoodie Guy who reported himself. Like, it's like one of those things, right? When you're like, yeah, somebody I know seems like they are not doing so well. And, maybe people need to be checking on them mentally, what have you. So somebody else had put it.
DOS is something to do with University of Idaho.
Okay. Dean of students. I bet it's Dean of students. That's my guess. Dean of students. Department of Social Services is a good guess, but that's always abbreviated as DSS everywhere. That's always DSS. And I think we've even seen it in one of these docs as DSS, I believe. I'm pretty sure. So that is a really good guess, but yeah, no, it's not. I think it's Dean of Students. If Twiz is right on that, being connected to the university, that's got to be what that is. Twiz says he would do anything for a nap right now. Anything? You guys got any thoughts in the chat there? What should Twiz do for a nap?
But I can't take a nap, so it doesn't really matter what you say. Because I would just be napping right now if I could.
Well, you can. No one's forcing you to be here.
But I can't nap, is what I'm saying.
But why?
Because I can't.
Okay. So then it's not our fault, guys. Don't worry. Don't let Twiz guilt trip y'all or me into thinking that we're 3 seasons not happening. And also, is that Doug joining us? Welcome, Doug. We got the couple in the house. Happy early anniversary, by the way.
The Dean of Students receives and reviews vandal care referrals and may initiate an investigation if necessary.
There it is, vandal care referrals. So there it is.
What time did he have a care report? What's the date?
11/4 or 11/3.
So like a week before the murders, he had some like mental breakdown type thing.
I'll up a little bit, actually.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, 11/3. It looks like it was 11/3, and then 11/4 there was like follow-up. Interesting. Frank says, correction, you are correct, Chelsea. They are in order of submission. Yeah, that's what I thought. Some of these schmoes aren't submitting their reports until months later. Geez, that is crazy and alarming, but also good to know that you, Frank's went and checked that out. And so verifying that they're in order of submission. Thank you. Thank you.
What did Frank say?
So, okay, hold on. That's what I thought needs some Z's is that, so, okay, the Hoodie Guy, he's not Hoodie Guy, right? I mean, unless I'm like, Hoodie Guy is not the ex-boyfriend or whatever, right? I mean,
it's Jack Showalter, not Jack Decor.
Oh, it's confusing because there's so many Jacks. Oh, okay. Right. Thank you. So many Jacks, so little time. Other people are confirming it's the Dean of Students. Adderall. Or are you saying why Twiz isn't sleeping? Need Some Z's doesn't have any empathy for you, Twiz.
Dude, I did this for Need Some Z's, and this is how I get treated. This is wild.
Kit says, months late, huh? Lolly would like someone to hold his beer. No kidding. No kidding. Thank you, Need Some Z's. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jack Showalter and Jack Decor. Yes, thank you, thank you. These last names are really like creative, if you will. Like, there's been a number of them. Like, they're all very like, I don't know, more on the unusual side, I would say. Like Jack Showalter, that name sounds like a character from something or like a stage name, you know?
Maybe it is, and the stage was 1122 King Road that night, you know.
You literally just read my mind. I was going to say that. Thank you for reading my mind. Almost nice. So is that the end of this one? Yep, that's the end of this one. All righty. And we're going on to number 16. Now we have Warrants. Arabia. No, not Warrants. All righty. What's happening here? So on 11:15, when I arrived at work, I had several voicemails on my desk phone. I began reviewing the voicemails. Most of the voicemails were tips on the current homicide investigation. Shocker. Many of the tips were about the live feed from the grub truck. Throughout the day, I fielded several calls from people with possible information they believed may be of importance to the investigation. I received a call from AM. That AM told me she was at the Corner Club with two of the victims, Maddie and Kaylee, although he put KT the night prior to the murders. She told me there was a college-age male known by Maddie. The male was wearing a black and white flannel shirt with a black shirt underneath that had writing in white letters that said antisocial. Okay. This person also said the college-age male had been identified as, CB. Wasn't that somebody that we already saw the name earlier that I said I wouldn't remember? Cole. Is it Cole? Is that the same person? Cole something?
Barenberg?
Yes, that was it. Again, with these names. Kohberger. Okay, interesting. So that's who that is. Was just acting creepy. She said he was not engaging people in conversation and was just staring at the girls in the group she was with. This person also said that Cole Barenberg had been grabbing girls by the butt and being handsy. Ruh-roh. She said she confronted Cole and told him to stop touching girls inappropriately or she would have to take the car. At one point, Maddie introduced her to Barenberg and said she knew him. This person who's calling or leaving a tip also said she let her guard down a little when it came to Cole and was later told by Maddie that she only knew Cole through a class and a group project in which they'd worked together. A short time later, Cole was kicked out of the sidebar. A short time later, I took a call from DJ. DJ told me he works at something, probably the Corner Club. He said he is a regular customer by the name of, who's this? GP. Do we know who this person is? GP.
What's Trooper Proctor's first name?
Michael.
Damn it.
Who comes in?
I got nothing. I don't know.
Does anybody know in the chat? Naughty Cole. Naughty is right, Kit. He's going to get Cole in his stocking for Christmas. General practitioner. Good guess. GP comes in almost every day. They said that this person makes everyone feel insecure because of the way he acts and the dark things he says. This GP person lives in the area of the homicides. They looked this person up, and it shows an address on Conestoga. GP has had numerous involvements with MPD over the last 2 decades. So this person's older than the college kids. Because 2 decades of, police involvements, basically. Some of which relate to possible mental health issues. Yeah, that's interesting. That does give us a good indication there. Like, you've got all these college kids, right? And then you've got the dude who stands out because he's like at least 2 decades older than them when they're only not even 2 decades old themselves, or maybe at best 2 decades old themselves. Yeah, wow. All right, there we go. George Pearson. Look at Frank's coming in with this. Thank you.
But is that a real thing?
What?
George Pearson.
That's the name. That's GP. Frank's is on, what were you on?
How do we know?
She's reading ahead. She's on document 110.
Who's George Pearson? It I thought it never gave names. It just gave initials.
Frank's is going to let you know, I'm sure, how she figured it out because she's amazing. And also she's very good at finding things out, I shall say. Oh, never mind. Just kidding. Everyone, forget everything I just said. All the compliments to Frank's. Delete them from your memories. She's BSing me. Well, that explains why no one knows who he is. I was like, well, maybe, considering she's read ahead. All right, never mind. All right. We're on to number 17. Number 17. And we've got Justin Dean. Spoke with the president. Is this a president of like a frat or sorority? You guys know who RH is? Okay. At approximately 12:48 hours, I spoke with the president, RH, about the 1122 King Road residence. I asked RH if she knew the people who lived at the house. She said yes. She said they were a close group of friends who primarily hung out with themselves. I asked RH if she ever went to parties at the house. RH said she did a couple of times, but the parties were small. She said the roommates were a pretty tight group who didn't throw big parties. I asked if she knew about any drug use or sales from the house. She said she thought Xana and Ethan may have used cocaine, but nothing big, and no one sold drugs. I asked her if she knew whether there were larger quantities of drugs kept at the residence, and she said no. I'm still not getting, I can't wrap, the $2 bill was wild, guys, just thinking back to that. Chris, have you ever seen a $2 bill?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had several of them.
Have you? Wow. Frank says I shall crawl away now. Exactly. No, just kidding. We love you, Franks. We love you. Twiz says, nope, stay and think about what you did. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh, that's interesting. So Frank's has a method of removing redactions. That's interesting. Huh. Wow. Well, you would certainly be if you were able to do that with any of these, it would be definitely highly sought after by many, 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 many people. Frank's is going to go to the corner. Right. Thank you, Needs and Z's. I don't know. She's saying, does the U.S. even make $2 bills anymore? I have no idea. I've never seen one. And I was like, if they're around, they're probably worth way more than $2. Great question.
They printed off some of them a few years ago.
Interesting. All right. So then RH also said she was at the Corner Club on November 13th. God, everybody was there. Between midnight and 2 o'clock, she said Maddie and Kaylee were also at the bar because also at the Corner Club during that time. RH said she heard a male was kicked out of the bar because he was acting creeping. I think that's supposed to say creepy towards Maddie. I asked RH if she had any other details about the male or the incident. RH said no. Well, I think we know who the creepy dude is. And this would be the same dude. This is the same dude who's also way older, right? Hold on. Now I need to keep track of the creepy dudes. So, because there's
going to be a lot of them.
Because there's different ones. So this one is, hold on. Okay, maybe not. So the dude who says dark things and is way older, I don't think that's the same. Okay, hold on. Okay, here's the dude that was kicked out. That's Cole. Cole is the dude who got kicked out of the bar. So Cole is creepy. We'll go with creepy dude number 1.
Cole grabbing chicks' butts and got kicked out?
Yes. So we got creepy dude number 1 being Cole. Then we've got creepy dude number 2, who is much, much older, several decades older than the kids, and doesn't seem to be as creepy in the way of being butt touchy, but more like dark things is what it says. He says dark things. That's all we really got there. And then, oh, right. And then he also has an extensive record, lots of involvements with MPD, which relate to mental health issues. So that's creepy dude number 2. And I don't think we know that person's name because that's GP. GP is creepy dude number 2. I'm going to make a note of this. So Cole is.
We're going to have like a board with yarn connecting everyone at the end of this with the random creepy people.
Expect that. We will have that for sure. So Cole is creepy dude number 1, and then GP, not Garrett.
No one ever freaks out about the creepy girls, though, you know.
Twiz, please describe for everybody what is a creepy girl.
What's a creepy girl? Oh, I don't know, like this chick talking to me about how she could dissolve bodies in acid and stuff.
Okay. I wasn't sure you'd be able to deliver on that, but I was wrong. Yes, creepy. That's creepy.
Girls can be hecka creepy. And don't you ever let anybody tell you otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I've never experienced anything like that. Odd. So, creepy dude number 2. I'm gonna make a note. Creepy dude number 2 is also much older.
This conversation happened like 10 minutes ago, by the way. That's why it was on my mind.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Is that why you weren't here earlier? You were busy having a creepy conversation?
No, that happened while I was on here.
Yes, extremely creepy. And welcome to, who else just got here? Don't Be Hating. Hello, hello. Kimmy's also here. Welcome on in. Happy to see you guys, my friends. Also, Heather is here. Classic. Wow. Always a good reaction when it comes to Twiz, aka Twizzle Magdalene, or Mary Twizzledon, if you will. Okay. So we've got the two creepy dude 1 and creepy dude 2. Excellent. Moving right along. Or no, wait. Did we do this one? Because it scrolled down. Hold on. Yeah, we did this one. Okay. Yes. I went back to the other one to verify which creepy dude was which, and we figured that out. We did it. Now we're on to number 18, guys. Excellent. Are you sure you don't want to read Twiz? Twiz reads.
Yep. My eyes are not really working that well right now.
His eyes aren't working. Guys, whatever you do, don't show him a picture of an animal because you do not know what you will get in response right now. I can tell you that much.
What do you mean?
Because last night you were blaming your tired eyes. You were trying to use that as an excuse for thinking the dog was an otter or the otter was a dog. You know, that whole thing.
You mean the Down syndrome pit bull?
Right. Because I literally have it timestamped, and you're like, you try looking at it when you wake up and you have tired eyes. So, anyways.
Well, to also be fair, I don't really remember, but I might have seen it through my right eye, which is basically blind too. Maybe Lucy remembers. I don't know.
Layering excuses on top of excuses, guys.
Well, when you tear your retina and have eye surgery and become legally blind, you can have an excuse, okay?
Okay, we're going to table that because Needs and Z's has an off-topic question. And do you have any trash valet service? What is a trash valet service? I don't even know what that is. Trash valet service? What is that?
Like, do you pay for that? Is that something extra, or somebody just comes to your door to pick up your trash?
I don't understand. Why wouldn't I don't understand. Maybe we need more details. Needs and Z's. Donna has one. Not only does Donna know what it is, Donna has one. Can you describe what it is? That sounds like a side hustle business. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I need more details here, though.
They're definitely feds trying to get your DNA.
Then that's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Mittens, welcome as well. In the San Francisco Bay Area, some apartments have. Interesting. So literally, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why people aren't, like, when you wouldn't want to take your own trash. It's interesting.
Well, let's be real, okay? People will pay other people to do anything, like grocery shop for them.
It's true.
So I could see it happening. On Facebook here, I keep seeing advertisements for like pooper scoopers. They're like, let me and my dad come pick up your dog's poop for you.
Why are you getting pooper scoopers advertised to you, Twiz?
No, it's just on Facebook. Like they're putting up advertisements, so it just shows up.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you, Needs and Z's. It would be something included in your rent or monthly payments. A company that takes out residents' trash and ensures the property is clean. Interesting. Is it tacked on to your rent, or is it included in your rent anyway? Like they're not charging you extra? Oh, Donna says it's included in her rent. Interesting. And you have the option to take it to the dumpster as well. Question: do you ever take it to the dumpster as well? Do you ever utilize that option, or do you just let them do their thing? Since that's interesting. It's interesting. Huh. I wouldn't mind having somebody, because I live in a house, I wouldn't mind having somebody do the rolling out of the bins, you know, to the road, because sometimes they get really fucking heavy, and like the way that the little hill is situated, it's like not a long distance, but sometimes it's like I feel like the things are like heavier than I am, like multiple times over, and I'm like, will I even be able to get this to the road? So far, I've done it. I've always managed to get it to the road, but there's been many times where I'm like, there's no way I'm moving this thing. But where there's a squirrel, there's a way, I guess. But literally, there's been times where I'm like, if somebody sees me trying to move these, someone's probably going to offer to come and help me, because like this is not good. But nobody ever sees me moving them. You know, there's companies that do that too. Interesting, huh? I've never seen anything like that around here, but I mean, I'm sure that, you know, again, like you could always pay somebody to do things, you know. Oh, that's interesting, Donna. Yeah, I mean, just also reminiscing too on the dad trash as well with all this. The dad trash. You guys remember when we were like really close to trying to figure out which trash service utilized BK's parents' house? You guys remember? I Needs and Z's, I know you were there. Frank's was there. I think maybe Kidsman's was there. I remember those specifically, that Needs and Z's and Frank's were there, and we were like hardcore. Like that was really fun. That was really fun. We found a lot of things. Anyways, okay. So we've got a new one. I don't think we started reading this yet. Okay, we've got Mr. or Officer Lanier. Alrighty. On November 14th, at approximately 1,000 hours, I responded back to 1122 King to conduct a neighborhood canvass in the daylight. Chief Fry was with me. We started from the rear of the residence and covered the small hill area just behind 112 King Road. Right behind the residence, there was a small black bag. Oh, more details on the black bag. That had obviously been out in the weather for some time. Okay, well then there you go. Not related, sounds like. There was nothing in it. We searched up to the parking lot of Queen Road and then worked southwest along the hillside below the parking lot. We searched the fenced backyard of Wollander Drive and continued west above King Road. From there, I was joined by Sergeant Gunderson, and we went through the south side of King Road, around the back, then back west between something King Road and another thing on King Road. I worked over to Queen Road, going north, then between Queen Road. Okay, these addresses are redacted, whatever. Going around the houses. We crossed the open play field from Taylor Avenue north to the Nez Pierce Drive at the crosswalk near something. We walked the pathway north to the World War I Memorial Grove. That's probably supposed to say grave, and stopped at that point. I returned to the intersection of Taylor and King, where I met with Chief Fry again. From that point, we proceeded east along the south side of Taylor Avenue. Looking in the shrubbery. Oh my God, shrubbery. A shrubbery. And around the cars parked along the curb. At the entrance to the parking lot of redacted Taylor Avenue, I located a black vest laying on the grass next to the fire hydrant. The vest appeared to be weathered with leaves and debris on it. So again, it doesn't seem to be related. It appears to have been there for several days. I checked the pockets and examined the vest, but did not find anything of note. As we continued to walk east along the south side of Taylor Avenue, I noticed a large amount of trash. Speaking of trash, and various items on the grass and in the bushes, including various glass and plastic bottles, pipes of various types, some articles of clothing such as t-shirt and underwear. What's going on in these bushes? What's going on in the shrubbery?
Listen, sometimes you don't want answers to questions.
Right? Men's and women's. Clarifying here, it says.
When I lived here before, somebody was like breaking into all of the apartment laundry rooms and like stealing girls' underwear. And when they found him, he had like 5 or 7, maybe 9 of those 50-gallon black
God. Oh dear.
construction garbage bags full of panties and bras and shit.
Yep, that's a dude that you want to keep an eye on, I would say. Probably. What do you think, Twiz?
I don't want to keep an eye on him, but you have fun with that.
Right. Super Planner Girl, welcome. What are you guys still talking about DOS? It's the Dean of Students. We think we solved that one. I had a Trapper Keeper. Donna's got all the tea on this trash valet service. Love it. You guys are the best. Also, welcome to Chipmunk, aka Too Fast. Yeah, it seems like Donna is quite pleased with her trash valet service. Yeah. Note the clothing when you read the possessions taken at autopsy. Will do. Note the clothing. T-shirt and underwear, men's and women's. I guess black vest also could be, well, I guess that wouldn't be. Anyways, it's not more specific than that at this juncture, but we got T-shirt and underwear, men's and women's. Okay. You know, a trapper keeper, depending on how much shit you have in it, could be used as a blunt force trauma binder, just saying. All right, so then let's see here. So the underwear and various papers and litter all appeared to have been in the area for several days or weeks, and I did not determine any evidentiary value for any items I saw. From there, I went south down Linda Lane and walked west between Taylor and Linda, then north of the easternmost building of something Queen Road, then up to the parking lot on the north side of Queen Road, back to whatever, where I started. Okay, they walked around. Great. Got their steps in. And end of report. Okay. So now we are on to number 19. Now I do have to say something. I need to take Frodo out. And Twiz, when I was doing timestamps, I heard you make a joke where you were like, she said she'd be 20 seconds. What's happening? And here's what happened last night. So it normally is pretty quick with Frodo peeing. Okay. What happened was we went outside and he had to bark and try to chase all the bunnies. And then he ended up also needing to poop. So that is why it took longer than 20 seconds, by the way, Twiz. But normally if it's just a pee and there's not that many bunnies in the yard, it's pretty quick.
It was worth it then.
Oh, it was worth it. Yeah, definitely. He had a good time. The bunnies are not afraid of him because some of them are bigger than he is. He's so cute. So we are on, what did I say? Number 19? Hold on. Just make sure, because I just opened up a bunch more of these. Yep, we're on number 19. Okay, so here's where we are at. I'm going to let the piglet, aka Frodo, out. Hopefully it's just going to be a quick pee. Twiz, can you hold down the fort for me?
I'll try.
I'll try. All right, guys. Be right back.
What are we doing, peoples? Dogs are funny with their little routines sometimes. Yeah. Where was I just at? They were talking about a cartel hit, right? So cartel, according to what I was just listening to, they were talking about how cartels will hamstring people, or the dudes, right? They'll hamstring the dudes so they can't fight back, and then they'll torture their wives or girlfriends, right? And I'm just thinking about this situation, how Ethan had his legs cut and Xana had like 50 stab wounds, right? Kind of weird. It's also just really interesting, like how much information came out early on that was just wrong. Lots of wrong information was released. And then you have people who like believe it, and then they create their theories on top of those false stories to come up with even crazier stories. Like, it's insane. Well, Xana's fingers were cut down to the bone, supposedly in like a defensive maneuver.
Okay, I'm back. How'd it go,
Do
guys?
we know for sure about Ethan's legs? Yes, it is in the documents.
And we will get there in due course, Yeah, they definitely had these ready to go. 100%. Yep. By the way, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because I had something I wanted to say a couple things about this.
You know what?
Yes, Twiz?
Why would they release all this stuff that goes against their narrative like the day of the sentencing? If not to try to get this under people's attention and like have them concentrate on the sentencing.
Wait, what?
You know what I mean? Because they're definitely trying to not let us have the truth. They don't want us to know shit. So why would they release all this stuff on the day of sentencing?
I mean, okay. To better answer that question, I'm gonna go back, like literally what I was gonna say is thing I was just referencing. Okay. As far as them not wanting us to know the truth, I think we need to keep into perspective, right? That there's before sentencing and after sentencing, and before sentencing, right, with the gag order, right? You know, remember in any case when there's an active investigation and they don't have a suspect yet, or they might have just gotten a suspect, law enforcement agencies are always going to be keeping things close to the vest for obvious reasons, right? And then in this particular case, immediately after Bryan Kohberger was arrested, you had the gag order, right? So essentially, there really hasn't been, you know, there's been this case has been especially restrictive in terms of what has been coming out, as we know. But all of that we're keeping in mind is prior to the sentencing, and the sentencing being marking, well, the end of the gag order being a couple days before sentencing, right? However, we know that as far as the government is concerned, right, and the government's decision was to wait until sentencing to start releasing stuff, as we know. Same thing with the court docs, right? So, in other words, we need to keep that in mind, because here's what I will say, all right? And I actually was texting Twiz about this too. So I said this last night, I'll say it again. This is really unusual that we have this. And I was saying how, in fact, I've got, for clients who are at the law firm, actually clients, I've got subpoenas out for police reports for our clients that are still pending, and they've been like what, over a month, and I still don't have them. They're like really tough to get. Like, they're really tough to get, even when it's your own client that you're representing at a law firm. Like, it's like that just says something right there. First of all. And so I was saying last night how, like, this is incredible. I've never seen anything like this. Okay. Then when I was at work today, I asked one of the defense attorneys, and I was telling him about this, and I was explaining what happened with this stuff, right, coming out. And he said he's never ever heard of anything like that ever being available. And then when I was driving home from work, I caught the tail end. Well, it was already over, but I just was listening to the end of it anyway, of EDB's live stream. So I don't remember. She was streaming about, I think, something related to Lolly and all that. But at the very end, she's talking about these docs, right? And at the very end of the live stream, that's where she just briefly touches on it. And she said she's never seen anything like this in any case ever. As also, like, she said, she even said, like, she said to the chat or whatever viewers, like, we're not used to going over police reports because we don't ever have police reports. And the other thing that's funny is that I had actually texted Twiz this morning and compared this to Karen Reed. And then EDB also compared this to Karen Reed. We're like, with Karen Reed, like, we don't even know, what did I say to Twiz? Like, what if any police reports even exist in that case, let alone having them? We don't like there, you know, just to compare it, right? Like, you know, so anyway, but this is completely unheard of that these are just released to the public like this. So in other words, what I wanted to say is this, in terms of like transparency, right? That's why I said I think we need to make a distinction of before sentencing and after, because this is like an unparalleled and unprecedented step of like, here's all of the police reports that, and so far I've not seen anyone ever say they've ever seen anything like this. And in fact, they're saying the contrary. This is just, and again, even just to get one police report of a client when you represent that client is difficult enough. So, so that's one thing I wanted to say. The other thing I wanted to say is this. I wanted to pull something up here because we were talking about this as well. Me and Twiz were. Hold on, so unshare, reshare real quick. Thanks. So as far as the other agencies, right? So this is MPD, as we know, right? MPD made this decision as an agency to say, here's the entirety of the police reports, and we've redacted basically names and maybe, so far, that's really all it is, names and addresses, right? So, but anyway, it's noteworthy here, right? And I wanted to read this. Investigative reports and other records by other law enforcement agencies and entities, such as the Idaho State Police, Latah County Sheriff's Office, Latah County Prosecutor's Office, Pennsylvania State Police, the FBI, Pullman Police Department, University of Idaho, and Washington State University are the property of those agencies as the custodian of those records. And so basically, what this is saying, and this is what I was noting to us also earlier, that there's like a fuck ton of other law enforcement agencies, right, that were involved. Like how many? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 that they named. There could be more. In addition to the Moscow Police Department. They are all in charge and in control of if, when, how at all they want to release any of their own shit, right? It's up to each independent agency to do that. So in other words, there's all these other agencies that have stuff. However, Moscow Police Department made the decision to, again, make an unprecedented step in like, here's everything. Here's everything. Here's everything minus names and addresses, right? So what do you think about that, Twiz?
Well, the crazy thing is like how much of this goes against their own narrative with Bryan. Like they were saying no drugs. The first, like one of the first documents, there's drugs in the house.
And I think that if anything, that just makes this even more impactful because it does. You're right. These reports don't look good for like there's a lot of things in here that are like, you know, red flags, raising. I mean, you guys have seen this already, right? It's like this, in other words, that just makes this even more clear that like they're not releasing these to try to make themselves like bolster their case or whatever, right? It's like even to their own detriment, in my opinion, the transparency was more important here because that's a clear decision. They had this ready to go. They released it immediately. They're like, here's everything, the good, bad, and the ugly. Here you go. I mean, that's why this to me is like a huge deal. You guys, what do you guys think? Nisam Z says she thinks I'm completely wrong. Do you want to elaborate on how? Because I'm curious. Where is, hold on, let me just see here. Everything in these reports, right? So then I'm not disagreeing. I didn't say anything about evidence against Bryan in any of these reports. I don't disagree. I'm just saying that. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. What you're saying is there's exculpatory evidence that wasn't taken into account before it's too late. That is also that also could be true and seems to be true, but that's a whole different conversation, right? Because that is up to the prosecutors, right? That's up to the prosecutors. And the other thing is this. Okay, hold on. Let me just say something. We didn't have this, but the defense had this, right? Let me just reiterate. The duty to turn over exculpatory evidence is not to the public before trial, right? It's to the defense attorneys before trial. The defense attorneys had all this, unredacted, obviously. So I don't know if that makes a difference in terms of like assessing it, but yeah, like just because we didn't have, like they had it, you know. And here's the thing, Heather's saying they're literally rubbing our noses in it. I have been asking, and like I think everyone's been asking this entire time for during this entire case, but especially in the wake of like this, past week, what has everybody been asking for? Regardless of what okay, let me just ask, regardless of what anybody thinks, and I don't just mean here in the Scroll Crew, I mean anywhere, on any YouTube channel, literally anywhere, regardless of what anyone thinks about the case or guilty or innocent or whatever, right? Is there one thing that you guys can think of that everybody has in common that they've been asking for? And if so, let me know in the chat. What is it that everybody has been saying that is the same thing, regardless of what they have opinions of the case? Is there one thing that you guys can? Transparency. Transparency. Transparency.
I want the truth.
So here's the thing. I personally, Heather, I love you. I don't see how it makes sense to ask for transparency and then get transparency and then say that basically they're just trying to punish us, like they're rubbing our noses in it. Like we asked for transparency, right? Do you see what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, how can I articulate that better?
I mean, I don't know anyone who's complaining about the transparency.
Well, what do you make of Heather's comment there, Twiz, on the screen?
Which one?
The one that's on the screen.
I mean, they kind of are, because it's a ha 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 ha, we fooled you, because they know he didn't do it, but they still got what they wanted,
But was there, in other words, is there motivation here to rub our noses in it? Like, okay, let me back up. Even if that is their motivation, what everyone's been asking for is transparency, right? So like the alternative would have been what? To not provide the police reports, which would be the normal thing. This is not, you know what I mean? It's like, would you guys rather that? Would you guys have rather not had the information? You know what I mean? I mean, we can't go back in time and change how this entire thing was done. So that's not an option.
I don't think that's what she's complaining about. It's that they know that it has nothing to do with Bryan, but they still got the conviction. So now they're being transparent that it wasn't Bryan and they know it.
Okay, but again, they couldn't be transparent. They couldn't release this stuff before, right? Like I was saying, because
they could have.
I mean, I guess in violating the court orders that were in place since January 6th. And then, I mean, the case would have probably just been thrown out, dismissed, because like, if they were releasing this shit, like that, I mean, theoretically, could they have? Yes. But like, practically speaking, I mean, y'all saw, like, talk about leaks, right? Like if they were to just release these police, like it just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen, right? It only shows that they convicted a man that they had zero evidence according to these documents. And I'm so far from, I'm sure that's true. I don't doubt that at all. And so far from everything I've read, 100% seems to be the case, right? But to me personally, regardless of what is going to be contained in anything that is unsealed or released, including these police reports, to me, I am just grateful that we have it, regardless of what it shows, because it's transparency, because then at least we have it. You know what I mean? Like we're learning just how bad it was. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Am I making sense to anybody?
Yeah. It's still crazy.
I mean, it is crazy. Why now? What do you mean, why now? You mean the timing of these coming out? The timing is because The gag order was only released, 4 days or something before sentencing. But because the sentencing hadn't happened yet, and we've talked a lot about this whole thing and the timing of everything, and to not affect it, okay, let me just back up. The option could have been potentially, if they wanted to say, well, we're not going to wait until sentencing, the option could have been like what I'm saying 4 days before sentencing. It was somewhere around there, right? That the gag order was lifted. It could have been 4 days before sentencing. Would that have made a difference to you guys? Would that have made a difference to you guys if they had released these four days, for example, before sentencing? Would that have made a difference?
Nope.
Twiz says nope.
They should have done it before Bryan was even arrested. Because all this stuff had nothing to do with him from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But the other thing you have to keep in mind, guys, is not all of this would have come in at trial. Like, I actually said this too. I was like, we're actually getting more. Like, if it was like, if we had like an one or the other, if it was like, okay, let's just pretend in an alternate reality it went to trial. So it's like, okay, it goes to trial. Or it's like, no trial, but we get all this. Like, in other words, we're getting so much more information with these reports than we would have ever gotten at trial. A lot of this would never have come in. So in terms of just wanting information about the investigation and what it's going to show and just like literally what was going on, the majority of what we've been reading wouldn't have been coming in at trial. So we're getting actually more information this way. And it's like less filtered, right? Like at trial, right? As we know, there's rules of evidence. There's, motions in limine, things are objected to as it should be, right? But my point being, a lot of this, if not the majority of what we've been reading so far, in terms of the stuff that's like the new information, wouldn't have been put in front of the jury at a trial. I'm not saying, and I mean, should it have? Yeah, should be, but it wouldn't have been in this case. Has he submitted an appeal yet? No, I checked the docket not that long ago, and the most recent document is still the one about the extending the no contact order. So no, he is not submitted, and it won't be an appeal, by the way. It would be a notice of appeal. It would be a notice of appeal, and I think he's got 30 days to do that.
It's like 42 or something.
Oh, 42. It varies by the state, and 42 sounds good though to me. Yeah, thank you, Needson's saying it's good to have these docs because everything and then she says, me anyways, have been speculating about was absolutely true. I totally agree. I would rather have
one of these docs, there's something about an interior room with a keypad on the door. And I bet that's that room where nobody actually lives in because that's where the drugs were.
Yeah, Heather, I know. Heather's saying they said the survivors were asleep the entire time, heard nothing. But what really happened is flash and bang, woke up on the... I know. We read through that last night. I know. It's a mess. It's a mess. I mean, so far, like literally everything we've read contradicts either other things that we've read in the same report or the next report, or actually, I would say probably what was going to be presented at trial. 100%. But like I said, this stuff wouldn't have all been coming in at trial. So I understand. I feel you on the outrage. You know what I mean? But like, I totally like that, completely warranted. But for me and the purposes of wanting transparency, for me, like I am, how shall I say it? Even though it might be outrageous or upsetting that what is contained in these police reports is what is contained in these police reports. At least for me, I am so glad we have them. Like I feel like this is like Christmas times a million. I mean, and again, it's unprecedented. It's unprecedented. We're getting all the tea, guys. That's true. I agree. Dopey Hayton says Judge Hippler said he was going to have things changed to create tears, but he didn't do it. Yeah, there was like 1 week where there was like fewer docs that were sealed. And they weren't even really anything of that much importance. And it was like, maybe 1 week max that lasted. And then everything was fucking sealed again, pretty much.
I think Hippler's job was to act like he was fair and impartial until like the certain things where they needed him to be biased on, Like you have to appear to be fair, but when this stuff comes
Right.
along,
right. And they absolutely could have used actual information. Of course they could have. Yeah. That's that really, I will just say that's on the prosecuting off. That's on Bill Thompson and Jennings, right? Because like we're seeing what was turned over. Like what we are reading in the police reports was turned over as just to think about it, right? All of this stuff, the flash, everything, this was all turned over to the prosecuting office, right? To the DA's office, to Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings, and it was also turned over to the defense. But before there was even a defendant or a defense team, it was turned over, right, to Jennings and Thompson. And from there, they get to decide what they're going to use. And I mean, again, I'm glad to see that like this shit is so bad in these police reports that it's not filtered, right? It's like, it really is like, here's everything. And again, so far, all of it is like, what the fuck? And like, you know what I mean? It's like a mess, and points towards all kinds of other things. But I'm glad to see that that's there versus missing. Again, put it into perspective, compare it to something like Karen Reed, where there's not even police reports. And if they were going to be asked about it, you know what would have happened? Proctor would have just made one up and just fabricated it. And it would have been, you know, only things that helped his theory or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this is like literally, they actually got information that does not make their case look good, which actually gives it more credibility. And they turned it over to the prosecution, and the prosecution from there got to choose what they were going to use. And it's on them that, you know what I mean? Like, they made the decision to be really not, I don't know, so many words for them, right? So many words. I'll let you guys put words in the chat that you want to use. I'm not understanding why you're outraged. Do you want to elaborate? I'm sorry if I misunderstood you. If nothing in these docs lead to Bryan showing proof of Bryan's guilt by being transparent is moot.
fair point.
I don't know that I understand that logically though, because that would
How,
okay.
How did they get to Bryan? I mean, that's like the whole thing is why Bryan? If nothing in these documents go towards him, it's a big problem.
Well, we know they got to Bryan because of just the tip, the IGG, but we haven't gotten that far in these documents, and that seems to be the only thing, right? I mean, literally. So, but okay, what I was gonna say though is that this statement here is based on a premise that transparency only matters when it supports a certain premise or a certain outcome or a certain anything. You could even just take it out of this context and put it into any other thing, right? Where it's like people have, you know, maybe politics could be an example, you know, where people have a strong opinion and they have an agenda. I'm not saying that's the case here. I'm just saying, like, you know, where there's strong feelings one way or the other, and that people are only going to put the information out that supports their side of whatever the thing is, right? So, but this would be based on a premise that transparency only matters if it supports whoever it is that's the person speaking on it, supports their own personal, whatever you want to call it, opinion, belief, whatever the case may be, right? That transparency only matters if it is supporting one particular thing. Does that make sense? And I just personally don't agree with that. I think that transparency means it's the information's the information, right? It could support one thing. It could support another thing. It could support many things. It could support nothing. It could be whatever the fuck. But transparency is like the point of it is that it's that here's the information and then you decide what you want to do with it. If there's an agenda behind it, oh, we're only going to release information in this particular context to support this particular thing, that's not transparency, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
I mean, it does. They should give us all the information, but they should have been doing it the whole time.
Yeah, but again, it would have they in no case does that happen, even when there's not a gag order. Again, even like
That's the problem, though. They should.
Well, okay, but there's a lot of things that should happen, but it's just not how things happen. Like, if that were if it was just, if the rule was like, okay, all the information is released immediately all the time for every case, it's like, well, maybe we as the public would appreciate that. You guys realize like how many investigations would be jeopardized by people who are actually dangerous to the public? Like, I don't know, take a serious, whoever, people who you guys think is dangerous to the public or was, and was convicted and was actually guilty, whatever, right? Think of someone who you're like, yeah, that person needs to not be out on the streets, whatever the case may be. And take a Stephen Stearns. How about that? Whatever, you know? And like, let's just say that all the information is released, and then, you know, it jeopardizes the investigation because then people do things in reaction to that. And so, you know, and the other thing is this, because in order to verify that somebody has information, they have to know that they didn't first see it ahead of time. Great example. The whole thing about the Amazon searches and Googling, you know, whatever the fuck it was, the searches that happened after the knife was released. I'm talking about this case, right? You know how like it was released or discussed in the media that there was a knife sheath found, right? And then everybody and their mother was Googling K-bar knife sheath, right? Remember that? How many times we've talked about that? And so then that's an example of how that information coming out changes so that then, you know, because what was everybody saying? Well, yeah, but that's not suspicious because we were all Googling a K-bar knife sheath, right? And, you know, but imagine, put that into perspective in a case where it's like a Stephen Stearns. Let's just say a Stephen Stearns, right? Where it's like, there's a certain thing in particular, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's just make something up, a specific thing related to something nasty. Well, no, let's not do that. I don't know. Anyway, a thing that like would have been something that he was doing, let's just say. And then like, but it came out in the media and then everybody was looking up that one thing. Well, now in that case, right, it's like, well, we can't use that again. Am I making any type of sense? I'm just saying,
Nope.
like, thanks, Twiz. Like they can't, it's not,
You are backing up the side of the government here, and I don't like it.
Shut up, Twiz. I'm not backing up the side of the government.
Well, we can't release that stuff because then, like, the bad people will know that they're bad. But then, like, the public would know that they're bad.
What I'm saying is that, well, okay, to that end, it's not about the public knowing they're bad because that would be convicting before that. Like, okay, that doesn't make any sense anyway, right? Because it's like that if somebody's a suspect, it doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean that they're even going to be a defendant, right? You know what I mean? Or a person of interest. It doesn't mean anything except they're a person of interest. So you can't just say that somebody's bad. You know? What I'm saying
apparently you can, because I did that with Bryan the whole time.
I mean, I guess.
Boom!
The media said he was bad. I don't know anyone like. I mean, for any person, whether it's a media outlet or whether it's somebody in the public, right? For anyone who's actually informed and appreciates the presumption of innocence, I don't think that those people, I mean, I would include myself in that, right? Like, I'm not going to comment on, you know, a person.
Yeah, but we're the minority because most people will just be like, oh, the news said that he's a crazy incel stalker killer. And then they'll say that for years, and then they'll create stories about him being a crazy incel stalker killer. And then the facts come out, and like none of it was true, other than supposedly him killing them, right?
Well, the other thing too that I was just thinking about too, that the other implication of things coming out early, right? Then you have to, the other consideration is changing a jury pool. Just to remember, I'm reminding myself that's another consideration, right? Changing a jury pool. There should be facts in every case that aren't learned until it's time for them to be put forth through the legal process at the stage at which point that is necessary. Now, again, I want to reiterate, it would be great if every prosecuting attorney and DA's office in this country was operating ethically and with, you know, how to say this. I mean, doing it right. It would be great. You know, that would be awesome. And obviously that's not the case. We know that's not the case. But if you imagine that the goal striving to be like having a justice system that functions and having ethical prosecutors and what have you, then the right thing in terms of the legal process would be for certain pieces of information to come out when that information is needed for, you know, for justice.
Here's the problem with this thought process, right? Because then you have the government that just says anything that's national security, we don't have to tell you. And then they just get to decide what's national security, and then we don't know anything.
I mean, yeah, but that's a completely separate, I mean,
it's the same thought process.
No, because here's the difference. You're just talking about national security. That's just like a general concept, right?
But that again, it's the same concept because they just create whatever term. Like in the press conference yesterday, well, we're not going to release stuff that would harm the victims or make the families live through this stuff again. Like, we're thankful that the trial never happened because no one ever has to relive all those things, which just means that they get to keep their secrets.
Okay, so what I was going to say is the difference, though, between national security and what we're talking about here is the public. There's the right to a public trial. There's an actual the legal process that I'm talking about that takes place is a public trial, right? And the public does have, does have the right to bear witness to the trial, right? And it will come out in the legal process. And now if there's not a trial, if there's something like, I don't know, a plea deal in place and there's no trial, then, I mean, these agencies have the option to not release this shit, right? Like, they could not be releasing shit. And then it's like, there's no trial and then there's nothing released. And then we just, people try to FOIA it, but like they can't get it and whatever. So.
That's why they should just have to release everything.
Is it the redactions that are like by everything going department by department? This is the entirety of
everything.
Hold on. We haven't gotten to the other agents. This particular agency, they've released the entirety of the police reports, and so far they've redacted names and addresses. So are you referencing the other agencies? That when you say everything, do you mean literally everything from all the agencies?
Everything. I don't want the government to decide what I can and cannot see. Because anytime you give them an inch, they take a mile.
Well, I mean, I understand. I guess I'm just thinking, like, in this case, like, now that I think I see what you're saying is this, that technically, so taking this example, right, the entirety of the police reports, it's like they could have released, because again, this is all of the reports. The idea would be they could have released them unredacted, right? That would be the only way that so far with what's been released here, that would be the only way that they're, in terms of the everything, the only thing that's missing are those redactions, right? So, yes, they could have done that. You're right. They are trying to protect the neighbors and the friends and whoever, these certain people, other people that seem sketchy, whatever. Having said that, we've figured out who almost everybody is. Not necessarily me, but y'all in the chat seem to have figured out who everybody is for the most part. I think there's that one dude, GB. We don't know who that is, but so there's that, right? I mean, there's that.
But typically then the victims would have to relive their victim. Shut up and release everything.
I mean, I think that if by saying, okay, well, we're gonna we don't want their victims to relive things, and I mean, I don't want people to have trauma. So, but if that meant, okay, well, we're gonna take this and we're gonna redact the entire fucking page, it's a balancing test, right? And so to me, it's like, are we really losing that much by having names and addresses redacted? Like, and I understand what you're saying about the argument of, like, if you give the government an inch, they'll take a mile. However, a prosecuting agency or a law enforcement office are not actually legislators for one thing, right? So they don't really have the ability to like make a sweeping change such as that of that nature. But nonetheless, you know, in the terms of the balancing test, right? If you know, if it's like we're going to redact names and addresses, but like we're going to release all of the police reports, I mean, I don't know. I guess I feel like, again, this is more than we ever get, right? It's just like, I guess I feel like I personally, if you were to compare it to other cases, it seems a bit like we could have had nothing, right? We could have, I mean, I don't know. It's
Your argument is to have a fair trial, right?
no,
Bryan would have had a way higher chance of having a fair trial if all this shit was released earlier. Just saying.
My argument's not about the trial. There is no trial. I didn't say anything about a trial.
You said in order to have a fair trial, you have to like not release everything until it's a proper time. And what I'm saying is
that's not what I said. You're paraphrasing it. What I said was that in the goal of the justice system and the way that things are adjudicated through the legal process, if a case is headed to trial, is that there's certain things that should come out when it's done properly, come out at certain times.
Well, okay, well then define what properly is. That's the whole problem because the government gets to decide that. That's why
I started it with the premise of in the best case scenario, in the ideal world, where prosecuting attorneys and DA's offices are operating as they are supposed to, right? And there are people that do, and there are people that don't. So I understand that it's a problem because it's like, well, if they're not operating that way, then that ruins everything. Yes, we see it firsthand all the time in these cases. But what I'm saying is that when you imagine things being done correctly, the right way, then it makes sense that that's how things should happen for justice for everybody, right? So that it's like, again, fair trial for the defendant. And that would include, by the way, including information like we're reading here that totally negates the state's theory, right? Again, it was up to this particular office to not use that, right? But there's other offices that would have incorporated that. And usually you'll see that happen when they have a case that's really strong. When you've got a case where the government or the prosecutors have a case that's really strong, they don't shy away and they're not afraid of things that might create reasonable doubt, right? Because what we're reading is reasonable doubt. And when you've got a weak case, and if you're this particular office that is kind of weaselly, and that's an understatement, then you wouldn't want that to come in, right? And also you'd probably prioritize a plea deal so that you don't have to worry about not getting a conviction, just saying.
Release it all. You're never changing my mind.
Okay, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. He's 41 days now and counting. I guess that's to file a notice of appeal. And that's definitely, yes, don't be hating. Yes, Hitler could have taken away the gag order and sealing. Absolutely. Yep. And it's up to him whether there's 100%. Yep. He said he's going, and that's a good point. So I guess Dopey Hayden is reminding us that some of this really would fall on Judge Hitler, right? In terms of who's in charge of, that's a great point. And that is also true. And there is Kane. Welcome, Kane. Also, here's Mary. She's back. That's hilarious. Pitbullpotamus. Are we sure it's not an otter, though?
Does it look like a Down syndrome or a pit bull? No. It looks like a normal pit bull. I thought it was kind of funny, though, how Hitler was trying to act like Bill and be all emotionally manipulative with his little speech at the end, and he just sounded like an idiot. That was kind of nice.
I'm just
Chelsea,
catching up on what y'all are saying in the
where did you
chat.
go?
Sorry. I'm way behind on the chat. I'm just trying to speed read. But some of these things that are being brought up are things I haven't read yet in the docs because we haven't gotten there. So I'm not quite sure. But we'll get there. Hi, Kane. Again, welcome on in. Let me give you your command here when I scroll down to the bottom. Neesby says, look, I get it what you're saying. It strictly it's from the standpoint of releasing these documents. Oh, Doug has a question about speedy trial. Why didn't he use his speedy trial rights? Yes, great question. And that was a very interesting part of this entire process because that was like they were maintaining the right to speedy trial right up until like the last moment. And there was a lot of interesting factors with that. 100%, Doug, I think you're totally right. Like that would have been the right call for sure. Totally agree with you on that one. Yep. That feels like such a long time ago, but yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, he waived his right to speedy trial. Yeah. He would have been better off. I do agree.
I don't know if he would have though. Because like, if it is a frame job, they were just gonna frame him regardless. Now it would have sped it up, which would have been nice for him probably, but
yeah, I understand. I need some Z saying it's frustrating me because it proves they lied to convict Bryan. That's the point. I totally get it. I totally understand it. The other thing is this, like, again, we're only early on in these documents. You guys have heard me get frustrated, right? I will just say that I try when I'm live streaming, right? I try to tamper my amount of frustration because it would completely impede my ability to, for example, read documents. It's actually easier if we're watching like a hearing or something where there's a video. I can be like yelling in the background or like voting in the background, right? You know what I mean? It doesn't like affect because I'm not doing anything if we're watching the thing. But when I'm reading, you know, out loud to you guys, it's kind of a different mindset. And like, I guess a lot of times what will happen if I'm like reading a lot of stuff and I'm just focused on reading out loud and like that type of thing, right? Then and like understanding like what things are from a factual basis or whatever. Like it's not until like after the live stream that like, you know, I can really process what I've read or like digest it, if that makes any sense. And so I guess in other words, it's sort of like, how to explain it, you know, like what, you know, like what we see people have to do, like, for example, attorneys, right? Like when they're like in the middle of an argument, take Judge Bev, right? Take Judge Bev and Karen Reed trial and take all the things that happened to those defense attorneys. And there were times where they showed their feelings a little bit. And there were plenty of times, and Alessi's a great example, where Judge Bev did things that were just completely absurd and insulting and horrifying. And Mr. Alessi, you know, is like, okay, but like maintains his composure so he can continue on with his argument. I guess you could, I mean, not the same, but just in terms of like giving y'all a visual that you could maybe understand kind of what I'm saying, which is like, if you allow yourself to get, especially if you're trying to think through a thought or read something, it would derail that thing, if that makes any sense, and it probably doesn't. But I understand what you're saying, and I am frustrated too. I'm frustrated too, and I'm sure it's just going to get worse as we go along too. So, and I'm still catching up on the chat. Yes, Super Planner Girl has great news. She found out she doesn't have cancer. Like, amazing, right?
well, duh, because they already cut it out of you. That's good though. It came back negative.
You know, I had a feeling, Doug, you were going to follow up with this question about the ineffective of counsel. So here's the thing. I understand why you're asking that question. It does seem that way. But when you waive the right to speedy trial, and they made a really thorough record about this at the time with Judge, they also with that waive the right to then use it later on for that purpose or any other purpose. And in fact, if you might recall, there actually were subsequent filings that we've read that were like, you know, the defense was making arguments for motions to dismiss or whatever the case was. I don't know. There's been a lot of them, and like going through all their different grounds, they bring up the speedy trial, and it's knowing it's just going to get completely ignored and denied outright, like that particular argument anyway, because like literally when they waived the speedy trial, they had a very extensive and thorough colloquy about it. Like, you cannot use this now later on, So I understand what you're saying, and that makes total sense. And the thing is that they waived that as well, unfortunately, is the case. So
they waived what as well?
They waived the grounds to use the speedy trial for future arguments. Yeah.
This whole case is nuts.
Yeah, Kid Smith, you're correct. 100%. The outrage is over the injustice of a man being convicted for something. 100%. Yes. Yes. They had little to no evidence. Absolutely. Yes. It's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. It is. It is. And it is. And again, these police reports are showing it's worse than we thought. Like, they had less than we thought, right? Like, it's awful. It's the entire conviction was bullshit. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, I guess part of me, I hate to say this, guys. You know what? I think that part of me expected this. Like, in other words, I think that I'm not like, while there's like surprising pieces of information, I'll be honest with you. This is really kind of what I expected of this case, because this has been my interpretation from what we knew the entire time. My interpretation is that the state has no case. And I mean, I've even discussing it like at work with the defense attorneys and stuff, because they didn't know a whole lot of it. I mean, they knew of it, but like we said the same thing then. Y'all have all heard me talk about it, right? It's like one of the weakest cases that I think I've seen. I can't think of one that is actually weaker. I can't think of one.
The only thing that I think they really had was the DNA, because
that's it. No, that is the only thing. That is it.
But this is what the FBI told Steve, that DNA is an automatic conviction. So like, if you want to frame somebody, right, get their DNA. It's an automatic conviction.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why you should have more than just that. I mean, just like what Ann Taylor said in that hearing with the motions to suppress and whatnot, she was like, I hope it's not just one thing. I hope it takes just, and remember Judge Hippler was like, yeah, a jury can convict on one thing. Y'all remember that? And they were referencing the DNA on that knife sheath. And then she's like, I hope it's not one thing. Cause that was, it was very memorable. I'm sure you guys remember it. And like, and that's the thing. I mean, it's fucking sad, and it's depressing. It's depressing that there's only the one thing in this case. I guess it's also depressing that is sadly what I expected of this case, given what we'd seen from the prosecution, given their arguments, given me reading every single pleading in this case. I sadly expected it to only be that, right? Like, and also the fact that they consented to the plea deal, like I've been telling you guys, it's because, in my opinion, they had no case, and that was the only way they could get a conviction is through the plea deal. So anyways, but yeah, I mean, the one thing, it's depressing, and you should have to have more. You should have to have more.
That you should.
Kimmy saying, Chelsea's just saying, this is where we are and this is what we get so street. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess I'm just thinking about how sad it is that I wasn't surprised that, like, that's pretty, like, am I that jaded in terms of expecting the prosecution in this case to literally be what we're seeing. And it's like, I was expecting that. I mean, I'm just thinking through it of like, that's, yeah, anyway, that's so like outraged. Yes. But surprised. This is what I expected. And it abundantly clear. The plea deal for me said it all. So Kane says time for Bluebell. Love it. AK Blue Bonnet.
I wonder what the plan is. It better be something good.
Well, I'm way behind in the chat. Holy shit. I'm like 30 minutes behind in the chat. Oh shit. Hold on. Okay. I need to scroll faster. Scroll faster.
Jesus.
I didn't realize I was that behind. Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. I need to scroll faster. Okay, I think I'm getting closer. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna scroll faster. You know what? I'll just have to catch up with all of these comments on when I'm doing timestamps because I know you guys are probably like, "What are you doing?" And also Joanne, new scroll friend, welcome. I'm probably missed a bunch of people because I just scrolled like 15, 20, 25 minutes through the chat. But welcome to anyone else who's new. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. Okay. I just have to unshare, reshare. Okay, so we were on number 19. Here we go. All right. So this is, what are we on? Okay, we're back to another Rosinski. Okay. On 11/16, I spoke with KN at the substation on the University of Idaho campus. I asked KN if she had any special relationships with any of the victims, and KN said she was really good friends with Xana and met Xana freshman year. KN said she was also close friends with Kaylee Gonsalves and met her freshman year during recruitment. KN said she knew Kaylee the best. I asked KN if Kaylee hung out or associated with anyone with violent tendencies. KN said no and expressed she was confused about the incident because of what she saw in the news. Oh, interesting. KN said Kaylee mainly stuck together with her roommates. KN said that Kaylee also hung out with the King girls, which were, and then the names are redacted. I asked KN if Kaylee was involved in using illegal substances, and KN said just coke, probably. I asked KN if she saw Kaylee doing cocaine, and KN said no, but she knew Xana was pretty into it. Detective Dean asked, what's funny?
It's just how much. There was no drug usage. Our kids never did drugs. Okay.
Detective Dean asked if Ethan Chapin was into cocaine, and KN said she did not know. KN said she didn't know Ethan that well. Detective Dean asked if drugs were being sold from the house or if drugs were more used for parties. KN said they were used but not sold. Detective Dean asked if there were large quantities of drugs at the house or if the house was known as a drug house, and KN said no. So Joanne, if that's one of these reports, we have not gotten there yet. We're only on number 19, and I'm going in order. And so we will get there eventually. All right. I asked KN if Kaylee ever mentioned about having a stalker or having concerns about anyone, and KN said no. And correct, Kimmy, grand jurors can never speak out. They're sworn to secrecy. And in fact, we saw recently here with the Karen Reed case, or not Karen Reed, sorry, just Massachusetts, a grand juror spoke out to somebody about something regarding their grand jury service, and they have been charged and already sentenced actually by the federal government for
was that not for Karen Reed?
No, it was not for Karen Reed.
Oh.
So yeah, they can't, they're sworn to secrecy, and they can be sentenced actually to jail time. And the federal statute is they can be sentenced to literally anything. Like it literally says any amount of time. There's no specific, any amount of time sentenced to prison for that. Isn't that wild? Okay. So I asked KN, or whatever her last name was, if Kaylee ever mentioned about having a stalker or having concerns about anyone, and they said no. Kayan also said Kaylee never mentioned anything to the girls. Kayan asked if we saw the Twitch stream. Okay. I asked Kayan what she saw on the stream, and she mentioned there were 2 guys. I asked Kayan if she recognized the 2 guys, and Kayan said she did not. Kayan said her friend P, is that a C? Maybe it's a C? PC and G in quotes were at the grub truck and saw Kaylee and Madison. Kayan said P, that's the person who I guess is like a PC, mentioned that 2 males were being weird. I asked Kayan if she or anyone recognized anyone from the grub truck stream, and Kayan said no. I asked Kayan if she was familiar with the fraternity members of Redacted, and she said yes. That redaction, I think, is unnecessary right there. I think they could have given the name of the fraternity. That's my personal opinion. That's like an organization. That's the first time there's been something kind of that like is a large organization, right? That wouldn't really be like that could have been, that should have been unredacted. That pisses me off. So far, other than that, it's been like house addresses and then names, as we said. Okay. I asked Kayan if there was something, if anything was mentioned about why the males were labeled as weird. Kayan said she thought one of the males nudged the other male, like, oh, those are your girls, go and get them. Kayan said that PC would be worth talking to because she was there during that time. I asked Kayan if PC spoke with Kaylee, and Kayan said she might have said hi, but she wasn't sure. Kayan also mentioned that ZM, so a lot of people hung out with Kaylee and Madison all night at the corner club. I asked Kayan if any of the victims had any issues with anyone, and Kayan said that Kaylee was unproblematic and peaceful. Kayan said she can't imagine someone with violent tendencies around her. Kayan said she felt the same way about, hold on, what does she mean here? Does she mean around, let me read this again. I asked Kayan if any of the victims had any issues with anyone. Kayan said that Kaylee was unproblematic and peaceful. Kayan said she can't imagine someone with violent tendencies around her. I guess she's referencing around her being Kaylee and not the speaker herself. Kayan said she felt the same way about Maddie. Kayan said, if anything, maybe Ethan and Xana. As in, I guess what she's suggesting here is that maybe Ethan and Xana hung out with people that maybe had violent tendencies, I guess. Weird. I asked if Ethan and Xana, keep reading, were associated with violent people. Yeah, a natural follow-up question there. Kayan said this because Kayan said that Xana and Ethan were more outgoing and hung out with different friend groups. Okay. I mean, just because you're outgoing doesn't mean you're going to have violent friends, but okay. Detective Dean asked if Kaylee or Madison recently had a boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. Kayan said that Kaylee dated a guy named Jack. We know who that is, right? For a couple of years, and Kaylee and Jack were high school sweethearts. Kayan said Jack was a really nice person. Kayan said she spoke to Kaylee a couple days before the incident, and Kaylee said once she graduated, she was looking for an apartment in Texas. Kayan said Kaylee met a guy from Texas that is already living in Texas, and they were going to be roommates. I asked Kayan if Kaylee and Jack were still together when let me read this again. I asked Kayan if Kaylee and Jack were still together when Kaylee mentioned that to her, and Kayan said no, that they were already broken up. In other words, asking questions around the jealousy topic, obviously. Kayan said that Jack mentioned that Kaylee attempted to call Jack around 3 o'clock, asking if he was up. Kayan said she didn't think that Jack replied to Kaylee because he thought it was some type of booty call. Oh, a booty call. A booty call?
I am not a hoe.
The record shows differently. Oh, shit.
It's funny the number of like sound effects we have that literally all could relate to a booty call. But that's just, we're that kind of channel, you know what I mean? So, and all of them are related to things coming up in trial, by the way, as y'all know. So just there's that.
Dude, it was so funny. Like
Trials
a week ago, I was walking down the sidewalk, right? And these 4 girls, they must be here for something. Maybe they're on the sports team or something. I don't know. But they're walking down the sidewalk and like they're behind me, right? But I could hear them talking, and they were talking about like, oh, that dude's cute, this dude's cute, blah, blah, blah. And then one was like, well, don't you have a boyfriend? And she was like, he doesn't have to know. And I was like, yep. That's how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are unbothered by, I don't know. I can't relate to that, but like, yeah.
It was just really funny.
There's also people that are like polyamorous and whatnot, but that's a whole other conversation. I actually know somebody who is like that and is well, anyway, I'm gonna describe the details on a live stream. But yes, it's interesting. These chicks are Down syndrome pit bulls, but could they also be otters though? That's the question. Mormon, there you go, James. Thank you. Also, hi.
James is here.
Tanel, right? Tanel says, I thought DNA couldn't be standalone evidence as one part of a strong case. It should be. What you're saying is literally what I was saying a second ago, where it's like, that should be the case, but it is not. Literally, the real standard, once you get past all the initial probable cause and once a case is going to trial, really the only standard is what will it take for a jury to convict, right?
Exactly. That's what the FBI told Steve.
Right.
As soon as they hear DNA, it's a conviction.
Yep. And that's why I said,
not,
right?
But like the FBI, this is the thing, is like the FBI knows it, so they're gonna use that shit.
Of course. I know it's awful. And that's why I said, right? Like, had this gone to trial, and then in a scenario where you imagine this going to trial and that Bryan Kohberger got a jury like the Karen Reed jury in trial number 2, I think it would have been hung or an acquittal. And I think Twiz and I both said, acquittal, right? I think that Karen Reed jury would have been like, sorry, that one thing, no, that's not enough. And that's how it should be. The problem is there's probably a lot of people out there, maybe even the vast majority of the public, who would be like, that's enough. And that's the scary thing, right? And that shouldn't be the case. Shouldn't be the case. Don't make it weird. I always make it weird. Can't I do? Also, welcome Miss Mojo. Otters mate for life. That's true. Otters would not be doing what those girls were doing, Twiz, in the story you just told.
Just because they mate for life doesn't mean they go outside sometimes.
No, I think it does mean that. I think they don't go out. They don't go outside. Outside. Wait, Heather, outside. Hold on, Heather. I have to do this for Heather because I love Heather. Hold on, real quick.
There's a house cat that's gone wild.
Oh, that doesn't include the outside part. But anyway, that'll be enough to trigger the memory if she's still listening. Portland. Oh, right.
Oh, they were going to bring up the DNA. They just couldn't say that it was a tip or something. They were still going to use the DNA.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. They did. Yeah, exactly. They were going to not bring up the IgG. And they were going to try to do just the tip. That's how he came up with that joke, which I thought was bullshit and was never going to work anyway. And it was going to open all the doors. But yeah, no, literally the DNA is the only thing like that is. And they were like, yeah, we can't bring up the IgG. We can't talk about how we got the DNA and connected it to Bryan Kohberger, but we're going to base this entire fucking thing on this one DNA and then not, it's just dumb. It's dumb. Sometimes it's easier to call it dumb versus like get, like, it's like when it makes you so mad that you're like, I can't. So it's dumb. Anyways. No, they're allowed to say DNA. They weren't allowed to say IgG. And they weren't allowed to say, hold on. They weren't allowed to say, that's not exactly correct. They were supposed to refrain from saying certain phrases. And the phrases were things like, what was it in the document? Like touch DNA, contact DNA, things of that nature. Was it like a specific category of DNA? They weren't DNA. There was going to come up a bazillion times. Trust me. Those 3 letters would have been like every other sentence in this trial from the prosecution. They definitely could. They DNA all day. DNA all day. DNA all day. Hi, Mittens. Mittens or kittens. Welcome, Truth Seeker. And anyone else who's just now getting here. Right. Thank you, Doug. They could say DNA, but they couldn't say touch or transfer. Yes, that's right. Yes, thank you. Yep. Okay, where were we? Okay, yes, they were already broken up. All right, KN said that Jack mentioned that Kaylee. No, wait, we read that one. We left off a booty call, of course. Okay, Detective Dean asked how they knew that Kaylee attempted to reach out to Jack, and KN said because Jack told them. KN said she thought they found out after people were asking Jack if he knew anything about what happened. Detective Dean asked if Madison had a boyfriend, and KN said yes, and they call him. What do you guys think that is? It's a nickname, it looks like. Yes, and they call him Matt. What's Maddie's?
Where's that?
Right here. It's a nickname for Maddie's boyfriend. They call him something.
Okay, said yes. They call him. Oh, we've heard his nickname before.
Don't be hating. You're referencing the IGG here. You're referencing the IGG. Yeah, that was the final thing is they weren't going to say IGG. They were going to do just the tip. But DNA, no, 100% DNA is all day. DNA all day. Scooter, is that a guess? I mean, it seems like a good guess. It sounds like a nickname. I mean, definitely could be a nickname, right? And she said she thought his first name was Jace something. So this is Maddie's boyfriend.
Jack.
Is it another Jack for real?
Yeah.
Maddie's boyfriend was also Jack?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
What was his last name?
Jack. Jack.
Oh God. Twiz.
Oh, Jake.
Jake. Thank God. I was like, we cannot have another Jack in this case. It's just,
Well, there's two Jakes too.
fucking hell. Thank you, Heather.
Jake Shriver.
Thanks, Mittens. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, everybody. They called him Rogaine. Well, then why does it start with an S, though? Is there another brand for, like, is there another Rogaine, but a different brand that starts with an S?
Maybe it's Shrivel.
Oh, Lord. Okay, Kan said they are still together. Kan says she does not think they had problems, and whatever the dude's nickname, Shrivel, whatever the nickname, was a good guy. Detective Dean asked what he looked like, and Kan said short, maybe 5'7", balding. Oh. Kan said he had brown hair and was skinny. Kan thought he lived in Coeur d'Alene. Kan said, who's this person? Starts with a B. Was Madison's little. Kan said Kaylee and Madison were the closest of all the roommates. Detective Dean asked if Dylan had a boyfriend. Kan said yes. Kan said his name is, I mean, I'm assuming that's Dylan. I don't know for sure, but it seems like it. All right, we got a QK. QK? Who's QK? Y'all know? I'm sure you guys know. He has epilepsy. Schmagma, no.
Dirty Mind Chelsea knows what that is.
Shut up, Twiz.
You outed yourself
only
yesterday.
because I played the Loodle.
You guessed caging. Like, I'm sorry. That's
only the letters. Quinn Kelly, thank you.
I would never think of that in like a dirty term, though.
Flash, I didn't block any accounts. You know I don't block anybody except
No, it's just YouTube. YouTube does that all the time to people.
Yeah, I don't. You guys know I don't block. I feel like y'all must be kidding if you think that I'm blocking. I mean, it's only Glenn. Like, that is the whole thing, the legend of Glenn. But yeah, YouTube does that weird thing. My computer freaked out because I tried to open too many PDFs. I was gonna say funny, but not. I mean, you know, unfortunate. I guess computers freaking out is kind of funny. I was dealing with tech issues all day at work. So anyways, it's just the things that the computers do that are just like, wow, really? How are they still having these types of issues at the year of our Lord, 2025?
Dude, when I stopped in that tiny town yesterday, I went to the grocery store to buy water, and she was like saying how her cash register was freaking out.
A cash register?
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, they tell you that this technology is supposed to make things easier, you know? But it always causes problems somewhere.
So Flash, if the YouTube thing, it's temporary. It comes and goes. Heather can tell you about that. It's like
It's happened to me, Heather, Meg.
Tons of people. So it'll come. It's not a permanent thing. It'll just, you could check it again later and it could work, you know. But we love to
No. She said that she like hit something too many times when it wasn't working, you know, like the thing you're not supposed to do with technology, but
oh, the cash register lady.
Yeah. It was funny.
James has had a long day. Put your feet up, my friend.
I've had a long day. I haven't slept in 3 days. So it's like one big long day.
I'm laughing at this, and also I'm sure Flash will have something to say. Chipmunk Fee, aka Two Fastest. I think I've overdosed on fried chicken during last week. I've had KFC, Popeyes, Bojangles, and Jack's Family Rest. I think I'm done though for a while. Twiz. And Twiz likes to say that I have, my mind is in the gutter. Mm-hmm.
I forget where was that. What maybe it was even on this channel, but there was like a thing with Hunter Johnson because he's like there's something with like these tall, skinny white guys, you know.
Oh, Chanel, yeah, I feel you on that one. Yeah, you got to be careful. Do some stretches. I totally can relate to that. If ever I'm like, I like to do DIY stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like if something needs repairing. So I totally know exactly what you mean. There's been times where it's like I'm repairing something that's on the ceiling. I know exactly what you mean. And it's like, you got to take breaks. Be careful. Don't hurt your neck. Oh my God, there's a huge bug. What bug are you? What bug is this? Oh, is it a mosquito? I hope not. It absolutely isn't. Good night, Kimmy. Thank you for being here. We love you. James doesn't mind when I'm. I mean, the thing is court documents and trials just provide ample opportunities for that's what she says. And I mean, even the defense attorneys or just the attorneys in general, I guess themselves just are like, here you go. Here, have that's what she said. You know what I mean? I don't have the bug identifier app, but this particular bug is flying really fast. And I think it'd be hard to even like capture it on an app unless they do videos to identify, which I mean, I guess they could. I don't know. Chick-fil-A. By the way, Chick-fil-A has great sauces, and I think all of them except for the ranch are vegan, by the way. Okay, so let's carry on. I know we're wanting to get through these docs. So, all right. All right. Twiz was commenting on tall, skinny people. That was not any correlation between people being tall and skinny and then other things. That was actually not here. So y'all can, to what extent my mind is in the gutter, that was not here. That was somewhere else. So someone might have more guttery of a channel than me. Okay, brown hair and skinny. Got it. All right. Oh, we read all this. Okay, right. So this dude, Quinn, what was his name? I already fucking forgot. Quinn something, and lived in Boise. He was
Quinn
nice.
Kelly.
What is it?
Quinn Kelly. That's Deanne's boyfriend.
Thank you, Quinn Kelly. He's nice and hardworking. He had epilepsy and was not a violent person. I mean, I was going to make a joke. It's probably not appropriate. I'm just going to stop talking. Keep reading. No epilepsy joke. All right. KN said she was not aware of any issues between roommates. I asked if Kaylee hung out with any other males. KN said Kaylee was talking to a guy named MB, who was a member of, and that's got to be another fraternity. KN said they had a sexual relationship and would hook up here and there. KN described this MB person to be over 6 feet, brunette, and medium build. KN said he was serving as vice president to, yeah, this is all fraternity stuff. I asked KN if there was anyone else Kaylee spent time with, and KN said no, unless Kaylee met someone at the bar that night. KN did not know if Kaylee met anyone in particular, but heard a male got kicked out. Oh, the creepy number one. I wrote it down. Creepy dude number one got kicked out of the bar. Everyone heard about that, apparently. Did not know if Kaylee met anyone in particular, but heard a male got kicked out. Right. Being creepy towards Maddie. Yeah. Wow. KN said that Jay or Z could probably have more info because they were also at the bar. Kayan said the last time she spoke to Kaylee, she was at about 1,700 hours on 11/13. Kayan said Kaylee showed up with all of Kaylee's roommates at her apartment, the Whites, sometime between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. Kayan said they left sometime between 5 and 6. I told Kayan I was aware of a social media post of all the roommates posted together, and Kayan said that was at her apartment. I asked Kayan if she's been over to Kaylee's house before. I asked if people usually, use the Wi-Fi. They left out words here, guys. I think it's supposed to say usually use the Wi-Fi, and Kayan was unsure. Kayan said they usually leave their doors unlocked, and everyone knows it's a blank out of house. Wait, what is this? What's the word here? Another word that should not be redacted. It's a blank out of house. What is that word? It's a
frat. It's a frat word again.
Is it?
Yeah.
It seems to be related to leaving doors unlocked.
Out of house. It's like, because it's like they live off, like they don't live in the frat. They live at like one of the, it's kind of like 1122, you know, because it's a Greek house, but it's not in the Greek.
Well, they're just she's describing 1122. Kayan said they usually leave the doors unlocked, and everyone knows it's a blank out of house. All I can think about is like the Hamburglar right now, guys. Okay, I asked why Kaylee lived in a house with a different sorority, and Kayan said that Kaylee and Maddie have been best friends for several years and spoke about living with each other. Kayan said that Kaylee was still close with her freshman and sophomore friend group. I asked Kayan if she was aware of any cameras in the area, and Kayan said no. Detective Dean asked Kayan if she saw anyone in the area that seemed out of pace. Jesus Christ, place should have an L. And Kayan said she thought while she was at her apartment, that is what it says. Said she thought while she was at her apartment but does not remember who, but said somebody mentioned about a random kid carrying a BB gun and no one thought anything of it. Oh, interesting, isn't it? Because interesting. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to highlight that. Let's get our highlighter going, guys. All right. Yes, interesting here. Are we going to get a third dude here on our little list? I mean, random kid. We haven't gotten to creepy yet. However, I'm gonna keep this in mind. Okay. Kayan said she has reached out to B on 11/13 after the incident, but she did not reply. Kayan said maybe EA has reached out but was unsure. I asked if anyone has reached out to Dylan or Bethany, and Kayan said maybe EA. I concluded my interview. Okay, don't be hating. Let me answer your question here. As y'all know, it's hard to read the chat while I'm reading all these, but the state is willing to agree and now gives notice that it will only seek to introduce evidence/testimony that LE received a tip. This is just the tip without mention or source of substance of tip. That's the IGG or LE that this is referencing the IGG, sweetheart. Oh my God. Twiz's tiredness must be contagious. Don't be hating. I think I'm also dehydrated. I'm going to drink some water. But yes, they're referencing IgG here. Yeah, I'm definitely dehydrated. I just noticed my lips are really chapped. That never happens in the summer. That's IgG. They're talking about the tip. The tip is the IgG. Just the tip. Welcome, Vonda. I think you might be another new scroll friend. The White's apartments, wasn't there that where blood was found? I believe so. I think that was an earlier from tonight one that we read. And I think that was that the blood that came from the dude who cut his hand and all that, the chicken dude with the window? It might have been. I think it was brought up in that same document. So I'm thinking that might be what they were thinking blood was from. Don't know if it was ever tested. Probably not. Wasn't there a tip later on? Mittens, are you referencing in these documents or are you referencing a tip that came out? I don't know about this. So if it's in the documents, we haven't gotten there yet. Chelsea hates beer, for the record. Hi, Jeff. Welcome. Yeah, the first thing I thought of when I read the firecracker part was like literally when people hear gunshots, either people that know guns are like, that's a gunshot, but the people who don't, and I would be in that category, like it's a known thing. It's a known thing. It's like a whole, like when you hear people, if there's been like a shooting and then everyone's like, oh, we all thought it was fireworks or firecrackers. It's like, that is a known thing that people will hear that sound and think it's fireworks or firecrackers or whatever. That's so like when I read that, my first reaction, I'm sure I even said it out loud, I was like, were there gunshots? Cause like, that's what people always think. So that's why the BB gun bit I thought was interesting. Yeah, I can promise you, if you find anything else though from any of those specific documents that you want me to take a look at to help break this down for you, just let me know, because I know you're looking into it. So love it. Vonda says, thank you, love this group. We love you back. Awesome. There was footage of someone racking a gun. I've not heard about that, but again, we're only on number 19. Only on number 19. CO is watching. Who's CO? Doug? Looking too chill? Is this your like boss or something? It sounds like though somebody is going to be like, hey, you need to go work and not hang out with the squirrel crew. And you know what? They can go and do a thing. If they came and hung out with us, then they'd be like, nah, we're gonna do this instead. Twiz, what are you drinking?
Code Red.
Oh, the Mountain Dew thing?
Yep.
In a can?
Yep.
Cool.
I'm gonna eat some ibuprofen because my head's hurting again.
Eat that shit. Eat it. Will there be bullshit tonight? Well, there's bullshit in the documents. That's what you mean.
Bullshit where? What kind of bullshit?
Yeah, that's why I mean, we've already got bullshit if you're referencing documents, right? Also, for anyone who's new, please feel free to join the Discord so you can hang out 24/7. And also here's a link for the commands if you're interested. So, oh, James says just bullshit. So bullshit of any kind. Yeah, I mean, I think we're already seeing it here on the screen. And concluding, oh, are we done with another document? Looks like it is, guys. Yep, on to number 20. On to number 20. Okay. And some of you guys are referencing things that I have not read yet, so I'm not going to weigh in on those because I have no idea. We are here on number 20, and I've not read any further than what we've read here. So anyway, okay. At 14:30 hours, I responded to the University of Idaho Kibbe Dome. What the fuck is that? Is that a place? I guess it's a place. Kibbe
Yeah,
Dome.
it's like the football field.
Okay. Thank you, Twiz. To interview JN. Okay. Information about the homicide. Right. Okay. So JN stated that on 11/13 between 9 and 10 p.m. he was, no, wait. That would be 9 and 10 a.m. actually. Military time. He was walking his dog. He stated that when he walked by the first time, he noticed the front door to 1122 King on the north side of the building facing the campus was wide open. He stated he knew it was a party house, so he assumed someone was too intoxicated and forgot to close the door the night prior. JN stated he walked his dog up Taylor Avenue to Blake Avenue and then down Sweet Avenue. He said the walk took him approximately 1 hour. JN stated when he walked back to his apartment at around 1100 hours, so 11 a.m., the front door was still wide open. JN said he was unsure if the information was known or not.
Because Dylan and Bethany were so not scared, they stayed in Bethany's room the entire time.
Right. Yes.
Let's be real here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is abundantly clear. You know, their own fucking text messages betray them on that one. If they were gonna, I mean, it's you know, ostensibly it seemed like they were going to be initially, right, the state was going to try to elicit testimony that would not portray that, right? Remember those days, guys, when it was like they were trying to say other things, and then it was like all the text. Remember when those text messages came out? That was so insane. The text messages and the calls, it was like, yeah, that was wild.
Well, I don't know if you know about that leaked text between Steve and Brat Norton, but Steve said that one of the girls texted the other, I think they're killing them or something like that. So imagine if that's true.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I had not heard about that. Huh. That would be wild. I mean, I honestly though, what we have seen from what we have seen in the texts, honestly, they almost may as well be saying that. I mean, the way I interpret it, it's like they may as well, like that. That to me would be only just a tiny step further, right? Like basically their own conversations that have been released and in the documents, like essentially my interpretation is like they may as well have been thinking that, if not saying it. Like they were thinking it, and if not also saying it, if that makes sense to us. And
It sure does.
so like in other words, that wouldn't have really surprised me all that much. Again, sad, right? Like I said earlier, as far as like, boy, the bar is so low, right? That I wouldn't get surprised by some of this shit. Okay, so the door, right? I asked JN if he knew anyone who lived in the house. He said not personally, but in passing. I thanked him. That's funny. That's the first time we've seen this in any of the documents, that they thanked the person. It's nice. All right. 21 bottles of beer on the wall. 21 bottles of beer. That's a great question. Why wouldn't SG be more sus? I'll let other people answer that. I cannot in any way, shape, or form pretend to understand how his brain works, so I'll let other people weigh in on that one.
My view is it's the enemy of your enemy is your friend.
That makes sense, Twiz. Heather's talking about a Subaru. Feel better. Wait, what's wrong with Heather? Hold on, let me scroll up. Oh, Heather has a fever. Oh no, Heather, hold on.
A Subaru, because that's what Molly drove.
I just saw a reference in the chat. I'm trying to figure out the context, and then I got distracted because Heather's not feeling well, and that's more important, that we send her our love. Feel better, Heather. So where was the context? So, okay, a Subaru is in one of these documents. Well, we'll get there, and then we'll know. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Look at this. Hold on. Let me do this correctly. There we go. Let's see if that works better. There we go. There we go. If ever you're in need of a laugh, Heather, it's time-stamped from the live stream last night. The timestamp you want to look for is called Otter Dog, and it's in all caps. You can't miss it. That goes for anybody, by the way. Instant laughter, no matter what, I guarantee you. Although Needs and Z's, I think, said it's something it's only funny.
Why? No, listen. Why would you laugh at a Down syndrome pit bull? That is so fucked up. Okay, that baby was born that way. He didn't choose that life. That life chose him.
Twiz be spreading misinformation, but it is really fucking funny, guys. If you haven't seen it, Twiz is one of Twiz's best moments for sure. But Twiz also gave us, not to be outdone by his demonstration on the Rubik's Cube. That was crazy. His hands go super fast hands. And also his
Don't get any ideas, ladies.
Don't worry, we won't, Twiz. We all heard your thoughts on. Never mind. I'm getting enough crap from you guys. I'm gonna stop. Okay. Okay. What have we got here? Cell phone warrants and this. Oh, Mowery. Did Mowery ever figure out how to put videos on an external hard drive? Because he was really struggling with that. The last time he was brought up in one of those docs from last night, he couldn't figure out how to like compress a file or like get a file to go on a hard drive, and it was like I died. Like, is he still?
I don't even remember that happening, but it's hilarious because he's supposed to be like the digital forensics guy.
Well, it is timestamped, and I made the joke that like the way it was worded, I was like, is he actually like going back in time before like the wheel was invented, and then like trying to figure out a way to like, then he has to like mine the metal himself and then build the computer. Anyway, basically he made, the way it was worded, it was like, okay, the file's too big, I give up. And it's just like, what is happening? And it was a video file, and the video files are almost huge. With all the discovery, it's like this. Anyways, yeah. It was hilarious last year. Was this from last year? This whole thing with the otter? Was it from last year? I thought this was a recent thing. Yeah,
no, it's pretty old. It's pretty old. I mean, like, the funny thing is, I thought it was so fucking funny that I texted it to people, and you're like acting like you're making fun of me. Like, the world didn't need to know about this. I let it out.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Thank you, Twiz. Twizzle Magdalene, with the cleanest feet in all of Washington.
Last night, maybe.
Okay, now we've got this. Is there anything in here like this to me is in a different category, right? Obviously. For another time when we bring back up the Siree stuff. I don't know that there's anything in here that is like, let's just see. We got all the buzzwords, right?
Wait, timing advance? That doesn't exist.
Right?
Does it say they got it through GLDC or whatever? Ooh, Lokedbore. I want to hear more about this. For a
That's
tower
why I
dump of
said
all
all
the records and unique device user identifiers pertaining to timing advance real-time tool, location database records.
This is the geofencing.
Yeah, this is just like a general thing. They just listed everything.
Yeah. Who let the dog out? Who? Yeah, I do think it seems more at this juncture though, that Murphy was on that balcony for anyone who missed that earlier. Okay, so that's done. Mowery. So Mowery, okay, so this answer, Mowery is still trying to figure out how to put a file on an external hard drive. And then meanwhile, while he's working on that for years and can't figure it out, he's provided this. And that's his contribution so far. Okay, 22. Kit Smits, it's on video. You can go watch it and you will enjoy. It's actually, I understand you think it could be them, but it's like the one thing probably that actually legit, he went on camera at the park and gave us a demonstration of washing his feet. And then they were cold later on, but then he couldn't figure out if they were still wet or if they were cold. And then we helped him figure it out. And then he got socks and then that helped. It was amazing. Good night, Mary. I saw something about tucking the fish in. Good night, and I hope you sent to them our love and gave them little scratchy scratches on their little fins. So yes, again, it's time, y'all. All the amazing things are time stamped. It's like Twiz demonstrates, and then I think it's called like how to wash your feet. It's great. Okay, so we have now. Oh, more Mowery. All right, what have we got? Okay. On November 15th, I received an email from Steve Gonsalves, the father of Kaylee. He stated he had access to some of Kaylee's messages and phone calls. Steve stated he would have redacted and then redacted contact me. So that's a person, I guess maybe a title and then their name, contact me about those files. I was able to speak to A, and then she sent me various files, including an image from the spokesman review showing a camera on the nearby residence, text messages between Kaylee and Jack, text messages between Kaylee and her Uber driver that starts with E, a recent phone call list, and a video from the Grub Truck Twitch.tv feed. I attached these files to the case file. The communication between Kaylee and, I guess he's referencing Jack by his last name, was located on Jack's phone, examined the Twitch feed.
What did you just say?
What the fuck type of sentence is this, Mowery? Okay. It seems to me like this redacted name is referencing Jack, as in Kaylee's, by the last name, right? So I'm just saying Jack, just to keep it simple. So let me read this messed up sentence again. The communication between Kaylee and Jack was located on Jack's phone examination. And Mowery couldn't remember how to use the space bar. That's what happened. I highlighted it so everyone can see. I thought, okay, Mowery didn't know how to use the space bar. Okay. The communication between Kaylee and Jack was located on Jack's phone examination. that still doesn't make any sense. And the Twitch feed was previously downloaded. Still doesn't make any sense, but you know, what can we expect from Mowery, who doesn't know how to put a file on a thing? And that, like, in the image showing the camera, it was found that residents, this is a mess. What?
I actually want to know what Mowery is good at, because he wasn't good with cell phones or saving his work or really anything.
Honestly, he reminds me a lot of Lolly. In fact, I've called him the Idaho Lolly. And I think, though, he's worse than Lolly in terms of just the uselessness.
Yeah, but he got an award from the Secret Service for doing a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Lolly also get an award at some point?
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
I think he did. I mean, since he's, I feel like we'll know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lolly also got an award. I mean, I don't know what goes on when people make those decisions, but I mean, completely unable to even. I mean, it's the type of thing where it's like Lolly and Mowery. I'm like, they need supervision driving to work. I feel like, right? Because it's like I don't know. How are they able to do anything in life when they most basic of things are they just, it's like, just, it's not even a part of their realm of existence that they can do a basic thing. So oh, thank you, Olivia. Thank you. That's the A. Thank you. I did see the Lolly testimony flash. Did anybody confirm? Yeah, I know, proofread. Yeah, Lolly. I'll see if I can Google that real quick about Lolly and his stupid award. Let's just see. I'm pretty sure, though. Adam Lolly. Yeah, Adam Lolly receives Outstanding Court Prosecutor Award. Yeah, there you go.
When?
And that's, I mean, it probably happened more than once. So there's one at least in 2012, at least. I'm just looking through here. Yeah, Outstanding Prosecutor. I think there was something more recent too, though. Let's see. Oh, anyway, I could take more. It's hard. I'm not getting exactly great, awesome things on this. It's like trying to show me videos. I'm like, I don't want videos. I want information. Anyway, I can look into it more. On a cursory glance, basically, I saw right there, there's a 2012 one for whatever it was, Outstanding Prosecutor of the Year. But I think there's more than in addition to that, because I'd heard that. Actually, I think during somebody said that during the Lolly testimony that just happened. So, okay. What if anything award? Yeah, or I was actually thinking too, like the squawkiest Lolly Bird Award. You know, do you guys remember this? Feels like forever ago, the Lolly Bird. And remember, he's also got his own command to celebrate the Lolly Bird. Now remember, this is nothing to do with being a prosecutor. It's literally being a Lolly Bird, right? And actually, when Nightbot sends it through, we'll see. There it is.
Lolly.
What noise, if anything, is being made, and in reference to the noise, who, if anyone, with respect to the noise, is making it? And that would be the Lolly Bird. So there you go. Okay, so the SD card. I just picture Mowery being handed like an SD card and being like, "What do I do with this?" Like, it's clear. Anyways, it's clear that anyone with like the least amount of any skills with technology, and I would put myself in that fucking category, would just with common sense be able to like do everything that he was supposed to been able to do so far. Okay, right. In the image, I mean, previously downloaded, he probably had to ask someone to do this for him because, as we know, he doesn't know how to download videos. In the image showing the camera, it was found that that residence was at something King Road. The SD card from the camera was brought to the Moscow Police Department, but was the file system. Oh my God. But was the file system of the card. It's like he's just put words in all the wrong places in different sentences. The file system of the card was not recognized. Here we go. file system of the card was not recognized by any of the forensic computers. You've got to be fucking kidding me. The card was returned to the owner. This is the same thing. Look, oh, you guys, you can't make this shit up. Literally. It's like, well, we give up. I have literally no skills with technology. It is par for the course when you're dealing with discovery. You have to figure out how to get things in the right format. And it doesn't take much. Like with having no, like you can literally Google that shit or just like right click and you'll figure it out. You can figure it out. I do this every day and I know nothing. And you know, like, look at this shit. They're the SD card from the camera. I'm also going to proofread this for him and correct it. The SD card from the camera was brought to the Moscow Police Department, but the file system of the card was not recognized by any of the forensic computers. So how do you solve, what do you do? How do you solve that problem? How do you resolve this? How do you get the evidence? The card was returned to the owner and reinstalled into the camera. Unfucking believable. We give up. Like, I guarantee you that on just my regular laptop here, I've got a program that is a standard fucking whatever the thing comes with that I could this is wild to me. I mean, this is the thing is this too, right? So they don't even know what was on the they don't even know what was on there. They don't even know what was on there. From an evidentiary standpoint, and maybe you guys don't want to hear about it, but like this is extremely problematic in terms of like video evidence. And I know there's all kinds of problems with the video evidence. I'm saying this is a new one. This is a new problem because at least me, I did not know that this even existed, this SD card, right? I don't think we'd heard much about this, if anything. Like we know about like the other cameras and whatnot, right? But this is, where is this even from? Let me just see here. A nearby residence. I'm trying to figure out now, like, where was this from?
That's 1112.
Oh, thank you, Twiz. It's 1112. Okay. It's 1112. So yeah, so then we do know the camera. I guess this blows my mind because like the fact that this is like the thing that stops you from getting that footage is just.
But do you think did he want the footage?
Clearly, I mean, either he didn't want it. I mean, I don't know how you explain it, right? Like,
well, I mean, that's a weird thing because Steve says that he went out and got all these cameras and the footage and gave it to MPD, right? Like, we literally have the cops at that door talking to the residents, like the day of the murders, right? When like the bodies were found, and they didn't ask for the camera footage. So it's almost like they were trying not to get it.
Wait, but you said Steve got it? Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, then what happened to it?
What do you mean?
So you said Steve got the footage. Was he able to, like, did something come of that? I'm confused. What do you mean? You're saying Steve got the footage from this camera? Like he got it to work?
No, like he got the footage from the residents of the house. The police didn't get that footage. He did.
By footage, do you mean the physical SD card?
I mean, I guess.
Because it's clear that they never, at least at this juncture, they just gave up and returned it, and they never got, like, in other words, there is no footage because they were like, oh, we can't read it. We give up, right? You see
well, that's how they have the footage from the 1112 camera. Steve got it. Maybe he got it off the SD card and gave it to MPD because they couldn't figure it out.
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. Like I said, any normal person could have solved this. So like to answer your question, though, what I was going to say is it's like, I don't know how, the problem is I don't know how stupid you would have to be like, this is stupidity. So I would imagine the only answer would be they didn't want the footage, right? Because like, I mean, the amount of stupidity to explain this. Same with the other thing where Mowery was like, I can't download the video. It's like, what? It's not reasonable, honestly, by any standard. So it's like the stupidity / ineptitude isn't really as reasonable of an explanation as like willfully not collecting the evidence. I mean, honestly. Does that make sense?
It sure does.
Kitsmit's got some cough drops. What kind? Oh, you said yogurt pretzels and cough drops. So yogurt, you had Twiz at yogurt and you had me at cough drops, as y'all know. I can use cough drop right now. I'm losing my voice.
I want to know how Kitsmiths looks all the ways. Turn your camera on and show us.
How she does what now?
Looks all of the ways.
Oh, right. I see.
You see what you did with your drug habits, Chelsea?
Yeah, I'm a bad influence on you guys. You got the cherry Ricola. No menthol for kits on this one. Those sound good though. I've never tried those ones.
Oh my god.
What?
I've never. Cough drops sound good. That is weird.
Huh?
That's weird.
Why is it weird?
Because it's weird.
Welcome, Cassidy. So the SD, I just cannot with this. It's just beyond.
I mean, it might be proprietary software that whatever camera that uses, you know. It might not be like that crazy, but
the thing is, I'm just gonna say, I understand what you're saying, but like having dealt with this so much, like just even in the short period of time that I've been dealing with evidence and discovery, the thing that might surprise you guys is when it comes to discovery from anything that's like a surveillance, it turns out like everything is in some sort of proprietary format. It's shocking. You're like, why? Like, why is it all of them are in some weird type of fucking, you know, format that you're like, oh, I've never seen this one. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why. So, but with each one, the goal is always the same. You got to convert it into something that the computer can recognize, right?
right.
And so this would fall into that category. I've literally done stuff like this on a regular basis, and I know literally nothing about technology, and I'm like the worst with technology. So, you know, and the other thing is with the context of this following the other one from the other night about the video being too large to put it on. That was a moment that I will never forget. Yeah. So, okay. Oh, it does have menthol? Are you serious? Cherry and menthol? Okay, well, I'm gonna have to get some of those. Live stream's over, guys. I gotta go get. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Twiz is like, I wouldn't be surprised. Right, Twiz? He's like, I wasn't listening. The docs are wild. Yes.
Oh, I was listening.
Aha, he was typing in that. When the cops search Chelsea's room, we're going to find a rolled up $2 bill and crushed up cough. I wouldn't use a $2 bill. I can just use the cough drop wrapper, right? I can roll that shit up.
I think you like a little bit longer, you know, so you could really get it up in there.
That's what she said?
Exactly.
Would I rather be, y'all, a defense attorney all the way, man? Like that's if indeed, as we, you know, if I do end up going to law school, like that's what I'm gonna be headed for.
What about for Zachary Hughes' case, do you want to be prosecutor or defense?
Defense. I don't care what case. I would want to be defense, and I can't.
I want to be 100% prosecution, baby. Team prosecution. Let's go.
For Zach, Twiz.
Yeah, you want to know why? Because I'm dropping those charges so fucking fast. I'm dropping it like it's hot, bitch. Bitch, Go free. Go kill some more pedos. Let's go.
I guess if you add into if we're extending the realm of possibilities to where anything is possible and like you could do the right thing as a prosecutor, I guess I could see that. I see where you're going. Yeah. But in terms of like, you know, prosecutors doing what they normally do in prosecuting a case, like, anyways, for me, what it really is though, I love the sensibility of the defense attorney perspective. It is exactly my sensibility. Every single thing about it, it is 100% my sensibility. And so it's why I get along so well with these defense attorneys I work for. Is it possible to overdose on cough drops? No, of course not.
Yes,
Help
it is.
yourself.
That's a
No,
fucking lie. That's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie.
Oh my God, you guys. Prosecution says the guy who doesn't like the government. There you go, kids. There's no one I wouldn't defend because every single person has the constitutional right, Sixth Amendment right to counsel and a fair trial, and sorry, not just counsel, a zealous advocacy. Every single person in this country has the right, it's a constitutional right to zealous advocacy. And it's not about the person, it's about protecting that constitutional right. That's what it's about.
Hey,
It's
so
about
Dama, you know, we got a
holding-
deal over here. We got a deal, all right? We could kill you next week or 2 weeks from now. You know, we'll give you 2 weeks.
It's about, and by doing that, right, you're protecting everybody because if it weren't for defense attorneys who do that and by being a zealous advocate as a defense attorney, right, you are ensuring that the government is held to their burden and that their feet are held to the fire. That essentially, like in other words, if there weren't defense attorneys to keep the prosecutors in check, we would all be in fucking prison right now. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, we've talked about it a lot, but like when you've got strong defense attorneys, it ups the game, right? They can't give it, ideally, especially, well, okay, if you have a fair judge, and there's an issue that's raised by the defense saying the prosecution is right? In other words, in that adversarial system, right? Only the defense can keep the prosecution from getting away with shit or violating people's rights in a trial. You know, and vice versa, although as we know, it's different standard. But anyway, y'all have heard me talk about this a ton on live streams. How about Darrell Brooks? What do you mean? How about Darrell Brooks? 100%. I don't understand the question. Yes, government.
I would decline Darrell Brooks. Just because I think it'd be funnier if he went pro se. That's it.
And I totally understand what you're saying, kids. And I've thought out that, as we know, many defense attorneys, most of them are prosecutors first. The thing is this, though, I always think about this. And it's like, if I were to go to law school, I just think about how I would struggle because being in the DA's office, because like when you're new to that office, you don't really have, and I've learned this firsthand because I've heard all the stories, especially in this area. I know all the scuttlebutt now, Twiz, of what it's like to practice in North Carolina, especially when you're new. So like basically you wouldn't have your ability to have a positive influence on the office would be very limited, let's just say. And essentially you would have to be like a career prosecutor before you, I think, at least in this area, would be able to like maybe have that type of effect. Although I understand what you're saying, Kitsmits. And so for me, it's like, even having to spend like, say, 1 year where it's like, I feel nauseous every day going to work because I feel like I'm committing an injustice, for example, right? By like, anyway, you guys know, right? You shouldn't be bringing a case to trial unless you think that you can, jury, beyond a reasonable doubt, right? Like what are the things about Breenan, right? Everybody's like, and me too, right? It's like Breenan's like bullshitting left and right about that. And it's like, it just, makes me nauseous. So anyways, it would be tough. It would be tough to like tolerate it for any period of time, to get past any type of part, if it's even possible, where it's less nauseating. So, and that's true. Brooks wouldn't want, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's my nature. 100%. I'm with, same here. Don't be hating. It's my nature to go for the underdog and want to stand. 100%. Yep, definitely. Yeah, it's a long game thing. That's exactly right, Kit Smith. 100%. Like, I mean, one of the defense attorneys who I work for, who was a prosecutor first, was like in the office for like quite a period of time. He was like a federal special prosecutor, and then he came over to the state. Was a prosecutor here in the county, and like, anyways, like I think he said he was there for like 6 years, and like, but also he didn't. It's just one of those things where it's like he saw so much shit that bothered him. He didn't really want to move up through basically that's why. Like what you have is that, right? You have people who are like a prosecutor for like 4 years, 6 years or whatever. And then what happens? They leave and they become defense attorneys. Or, You have some people that just stay and they're prosecutors only forever, right? But like the ones that become defense attorneys, I think what happened was exactly what Kitsmits and I are saying, which is like, they're like, sorry, I cannot. I tolerated it for as long as I could. I can't do it anymore. I got to get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? So. It's better for well, yeah, of course, it's better for guilty. Of course. Yeah. It's better for a million guilty people to go free than one innocent person getting convicted. Yeah, I'm from North Carolina. If that's what you mean by Carolina girl, I'm from North Carolina. No dog left behind. Welcome. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, I'll represent Twiz. I'll totally represent Twiz. So
the real question is, would Ann Taylor represent Twiz?
Good question. What do you guys think? I mean, I guess she has more availability now.
I mean, she is private now, so.
You mean heels? Here's the thing. Don't be hating. I know what you're referencing. You're referencing sports ball. I don't have a sports ball bone in my body. And my family also is not a sports ball family. We are all a musical family. So I had friends who were like, what is the color called? Sky blue or whatever. Like, you know, I had friends that like came from families that were like super
Carolina blue. Get it right. I
can't even get it right, clearly. and I'm like, my family is like, we don't know about sports ball. But I know that there's a team that plays sports ball. There's the Tar Heels. Is that what it is? And then there's the Blue Devils or something. That's the other one. That's the extent of my knowledge. Although I know you know what's funny? I know way more about the Gamecocks because of Murdoch, which is just really funny. And I know the Gamecocks have a rivalry with Clemson. And it's just like the state I didn't grow up in, right? That's what Charles will do. Okay, so SD card nonsense. Then on November 17th, Officer Rosinski recontacted the owner of the camera via phone. Somebody stated she was out of town, but sent a video to Rosinski showing a figure walk to a dumpster and walk to the dumpster and appear to look inside. Interesting. To preserve any potential evidence on the camera. Oh, thank God. Okay, hold on. To preserve any potential evidence on the camera, I asked whoever if we could seize the entire device, including the SD card. Like, it's like, just in case we ever figure out how to, like, you know, I don't know, provide discovery in like the thing we're supposed to be doing every day. Like, oh, let's put this in a readable file or readable format. In case we ever figure out how to do the most basic elements of our job, just in case we can figure that part out, let's just keep this SD card just in case at some point we become even remotely competent. At least they're keeping it. That's improvement, I guess.
Yeah, this just goes back to why didn't they preserve the camera footage going into Moscow?
I know, it's awful. It's just,
I'm pretty sure they just didn't want it.
Yeah. She said she wouldn't be back in Moscow until November 28th. And then when she returns, he's going to attempt to get the camera back. So at this point, we don't really know what happens. Like, this is like a cliffhanger. It's like, okay, I'm going to attempt to get the camera back, right? Attempt to connect the camera back and then view the video from that device. But what's going to happen? Dun, dun, dun. Funny how, like, even here, Mowery uses the word attempt. Well, hold on. This isn't even an attempt to get it converted into the right file. He says, I will attempt to connect the camera back to the Wi-Fi router and view the video, which he's already been able to do. And he's already stated that. So he's like, this is how inept I am, or dumb, or whatever. This is how much I care to not do anything here. I'm going to attempt to plug the camera in to the thing where it plays videos and view the video. That's going to be a challenge in and of itself. Yup. Oh, you went to UNC Chapel Hill. What did you major in? That's cool. I mean, they have a great law school. In fact, that's where my dad went to law school. They have one of the best law schools in the state, and I think beyond the state even. And I honestly, when I think about UNC Chapel Hill, like that's what I think about. Is I think about the law school. They might have other things that they're good at in terms of academics, but I don't know what they are because I feel like my understanding is always like they have a great law schools. Oh, international studies. That's cool. Do you speak other languages? So that's the end of this. Like, I'm just like dumbfounded right now, like depressing, sad, frustrating, nonsensical. I mean, it really is more. Let me just read this part again. To preserve any potential evidence on the camera, I asked if we could seize the entire device, including the SD card. Hold on. Actually, I need to get the context here. The owner of the camera, okay, said that she was able to send a video to Officer Rosinski, who apparently is able. Officer Rosinski is at least able to like be like, hey, if you give me a video, I can collect it. Like, that's a step in the right direction. So this owner is like, hey, like she has a system that can work this thing. She sends a video to Officer Rosinski and it shows the figure with the dumpster. So in other words, we know that this is all doable. And then we have Mowery. She's going to be out of town, right? But then when she returns, the owner of the camera, at which time I will attempt to connect the camera back to her Wi-Fi router and view the video from the device. Not even obtain it, just view it. When again, already here, look, we have sent. So previously, we know that this video is obviously obtainable. It's viewable. It's sendable. And then you have Mowery. The best he's going to do is attempt to view it, and even that's going to be a stretch. Wow, I'm highlighting all this shit right here. I'm highlighting it all. This is crazy. Especially back to back, right? Because it's like, literally, you've just demonstrated that this is not rocket science here. This is just easy. Oh my God. There. Unbelievable.
Something ain't right.
And this part too. This part too about this, like, just cannot. It's just not plausible. It's not possible. It's, yeah. Okay, number 23. Number 20. Oh, another Mowery. Great. Can I handle another Mowery? I don't even know. Oh, minored in French. That's cool. I don't think you suck. I think you're great. Yeah, right. I know. Attempt. Exact. Yeah. It's like, and you know what? You know, he's not, it's like, that's an exaggeration. It's like by him saying that, he's like not going to attempt. He's not even going to fucking, we'll see if he even follows up with her. I mean, it's just the video. I just can't. The video file was too large to put on a thing. Like, I can't. Okay. What did he say? It would take too long to download. All right. I've made fun of that part enough. / raged at it enough. Okay. November 18th, I received an email from somebody showing a screenshot of a Facebook post from Dylan. In the post, the username was something, reported details about the incident. I searched for this user and found a user ID of blank. This account had an avatar similar to another avatar. I guess that's probably M from Mortensen. I was able to pull up the account and it appeared to have the following friends associated with it. Friends. I requested preservation. Are you sure you didn't attempt to request preservation?
So you can do that. It's possible to request preservation.
That's exactly right, Twiz. I requested preservation. He was, the thing that's noteworthy here is he was able to do something, anything. He was. This is the first time in this entire fucking thing, all the documents we've read with Mowery, this is the first time he's been able to do something, literally. Amazing. I requested preservation on all 4 of these accounts. You know what's so funny is like with like some of the initial ones we read where these are like law enforcement officers that none of us had ever heard of, right? They didn't have this type of struggle with things. Like they were like bam, bam, bam. So far, Mowery's got the Struggle Bus Award, and just remember we're on document 23. I'm going in order. So far, Mowery is like in a category all by himself compared to all the other reports that we've read. Like in all series, like this is, it's really like a blatantly obvious, complete. It's wild that he wouldn't even try to pretend to make it more normal in comparison to the others, because it's just so, it's like it's got a big sign on it and all the, you know, alarms and red flags and all the things. Like, I don't know. I'm just, okay. He did the thing. He did a thing. Good job, Mowery. At approximately 7:45 hours, I received an email from Facebook stating the accounts were preserved. I am surprised that they complied that quickly. That's pretty surprising that they complied with that request so quickly. Okay, and we're gonna do one more on this round. 24. Let's go. Twitch video, and it's another Mowery. Mowery. All right. On November 13th, I was informed. Yes. Okay. Twitch TV. I was able to locate the. He was able to do another thing. Okay. Thing number 2. I was able to locate the Twitch account. Grub truckers. Like, but you know what's so funny is like obviously that's not hard. And locate the stream. The stream was labeled "The Carbonara Effect. Will never reveal our secret ingredient." And is located.
I bet he like patted himself on the back for that.
100% Twiz. 100%. Yep.
It took like a 30-minute break.
Yes, 100%. And what's really fucking funny is, as literally I was just thinking about looking at this, how he's like, I was able to locate the stream, and then follows that up with giving the label. It's like the stream was labeled. It has a link.
You just hit twitch.tv and search the name. Like,
and, you know, there was an earlier document that we read tonight that literally said, what was it? It was like saying that this link was posted everywhere, and like everybody, like the Twitch link was like, what was it specifically? Basically, it was like, oh yeah, here, like everyone can. Anyways, but like I was able to locate it. Oh, really? It was labeled and it had a link that I clicked on. Oh my God. Oh my God. Good night, Flash. In the video, Kaylee and Maddie are seen walking into the camera view at 3:43 timestamp. Is the video timestamp off? That's what it must be. Yeah, it has to be. That video, I wonder if it's 2 hours off. Yeah, that's got to be off. They're accompanied by a male, later identified as, oh, which one was this? Was this another Jack or was this a Jake?
Probably Showalter.
Okay, thank you. Which was he? That's the hoodie dude, right?
Yeah.
So he's not really on the creepy list yet, as of yet, right? Because we got creepy 1 and creepy 2, and then we got hoodie dudes. He's like in the maybe category as far as what's been presented so far. Would you guys agree with that? Or is he not even in the maybe category, you think, as of what's been presented so far?
Presented in these documents?
Yeah, so far. Going in order.
I couldn't think of something that pointed towards him, but I'm also like sleep deprived, so I don't know.
Right. Well, in other words, have they referenced him doing something that seemed creepy or sus yet? I don't think they have.
I don't think so, but
okay. So we'll leave him off the list for now. All right. Kaylee orders and receives food at the 3:53 timestamp. Again, that can't be correct. Wait, hold on. Military time. No, because that would be 3:53 a.m. That's got to be wrong. The girls are seen walking around the truck and leave the area. Showalter, hoodie dude, appears to be talking to another patron and does not see the girls leave. He then raises his arms in a what fashion? This is so reminiscent, isn't it, of the footage from the waterfall bar, right? In the videos that we got in the second trial, where like the whole people leaving, they've been drinking, and then the like gesture from Higgins, right, to John O'Keefe, and then like, what is it, Bryan Albert, or is it the other one? They intervene. Anyways, okay, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So you got a gesture.
I haven't seen that video, but I've heard about it.
It was presented at trial. We watched it. Yeah, I think you were there, Twiz.
I haven't seen that video, but I've heard about it.
Okay. He raises his arms in a what fashion, and then walks away in a different direction than the girls. A copy of this video was captured and saved as evidence. Not by him. Notice this. Notice the passive voice. Because you know why? Guess who wouldn't be able to copy a video? Guess who wouldn't know how to save a video? Mowery. Literally, oh my God. This does not say, I made a copy of this video and saved it as evidence. So what did he do? He was able to, again, he clicked on the link. Good job. But then that's all he could muster. Somebody else had to step in and intervene. A copy of this video was captured and saved as evidence. He had to call in for reinforcements and help on that one. I mean, because clearly he would not know how to do that. Wow. Oh, Chris, right. Thank you. There it is. Kitsmits. Yes, thank you. Hey, Chris Albert holds him back. Right. Yeah, and it was discussed a lot too in the closing arguments, although I don't think they played it in closing arguments. I don't
How
think
did they miss it in the first trial, though?
You know, that's a good question. I'm trying to remember the answer to that. It's like, it was one of those things where like they didn't have it, or it was like the footage was so shitty that you couldn't see it. And then, you know, like between the first trial and the second trial, they're like another whole trial's worth of evidence got unearthed. Well, some of it got unearthed during the first trial. But basically, it's like, wow, you know, like all this new shit came out. One of the things had to do with this video, and I think it was like either it was just the footage was so shitty that you couldn't see it, or I'm sure someone in the chat will remember this exact circumstances. Either it wasn't fucking turned over by the Commonwealth until after the first trial, which added to the list of things like that. And then, or it might have been that they had it, but it was like so grainy or something that they couldn't see it. I feel like there was discussion of that, so that's why that's in my brain. But also, you had that with the Lolliport video. So it's hard. In other words, all the videos were like turned over late and also shitty and hard and basically useless and like grainy, that it's hard to keep them all straight because they were all like that. So, yeah. Oh, Kit says, I believe that was an and situation. So both, all of the above. Yeah, that would make sense. Shaking my head. It's like, yeah, oh, here, we're going to give this to you. Oh, is it inverted? Oh, is it up? Is it completely, you can't see anything? Like, oh, is it missing this? Are there ghosts? I mean, just, you know, incredible, honestly, to even think about. Even though we all saw it and are aware of it, it's still shocking. Guys, my voice is going, and it maybe doesn't, I don't know if it sounds like it, but my throat is hurting and I'm going to need a cough drop or two. But
do I need to do the last line of the document or what?
I already read it. And just went off on a whole making fun of it and why this is crazy. And I guess you were not listening.
No, I was. I just, you know, you said your voice was dying. So if I needed to do the last line, I could probably do it.
Well, why don't you, here, let's do this. Even though I read it, let's do, you're going to do Twiz reads for a brief moment. And,
a copy of this video was captured and saved as evidence. Gold star for me. I learned from Mowery.
Again, noting that it's not in the first person. Mowery didn't do it. Someone else did it because he's incapable. Someone else. Mowery would have been like, I don't know how to do this. So like, I got to call somebody in. Hey, can you help me? What do you got to do? Oh, I need to know how to save this video. Because I don't know how to. Anyways. And don't be hating. Thank you so much for the super chat. Do we know if they took phones of the victims' roommates and you celebrate? Oh, they did. They totally did. Yeah. Now, I don't know when. Do we? And that, I'm sure that will be in here at some point.
Well, I don't know if they use Celebrate, but.
Well, yeah, they could have used something like Axiom, but they did do a full file extraction.
They've listed all the phones as being extracted, even Dylan and Bethany. So.
They what now?
Even Dylan and Bethany.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they did. What was it? I think it was 67 devices, if memory serves. And if Tonka was listening, I think he would remember and confirm it. 67, because we went through that one night and broke it down. It was 67 devices, and that was like phones and like iPads or whatever type of thing that they did full file extractions of. So yeah, that's how they got those text messages and whatnot, and phone calls, and all the shit that we've seen came from that, right? And you're welcome for making it fun. I'm glad you're having fun. That is awesome. Cough drops. Welcome on in. Help yourself to a cough drop or 2 or 3 or 4 or 8.
Or only have a cough drop if you need it. We need responsible cough drop users.
Twiz, that sounds like a good cause you could take up.
Why?
Because it sounds like maybe there's not enough awareness to like responsible cough drop use. And it seems like it's an epidemic. You know, people are overdosing every day.
Only people around you.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, but honestly, I set myself up for that. I really did. I really set myself up for that. Are you talking about Kaylee's phone, Twiz?
Yeah.
Are you saying that they had difficulty getting into it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you've read ahead or something, because I don't know where I haven't seen that part yet.
No, I think they talked about it a long time ago. Like
Okay.
Steve
Interesting.
or something said that he had to break in or something. I don't know.
Oh, so maybe I wonder if it had died, because I would find that surprising. Now, again, if it's an iPhone and the battery's dead, then you only get like the what is it? The first unlock is a completely different situation, and typically you will have to jailbreak it.
Yeah.
So
that's the truth. That's why if you get pulled over by the cops or something, turn your iPhone off and don't put it in the password.
Yep. Or you could just go to a military base and like put it, like shred it and like put it in a dumpster for good measure.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have that ability, you know.
Fair point. Yeah.
Or just like pulling off the stuff that you want the cops to have from your FBI friend's computer, you know, like.
Don't be hating. A lot of what I think you're referencing came out, and maybe you missed it. It was in the docs, the tech, when we covered all of it, right? But it was the one, the text messages. So it was there was a motion eliminated called text messages and testimony of whatever. I don't remember. It had a really fucking long name. But and like there was the first version that only had a few, and then with each subsequent filing, there was more text messages and more, and it included some of the social media activity. And that's as far as what we've got so far. That's the most we've got so far because that was in the filings. But again, I think we will get more going forward. But if you want to check into that, that's in that document called whatever the fuck it is, the motion to eliminate regarding the text messages. If you see text messages and you see motion to eliminate, look for the ones that are the most recent, and those are going to have the most tea. Well, and also when I covered those, I did a thing where I color coded it, and every time one side added something that the other side left out, I color coded it and highlighted it. So I've got like 4 versions of those. I've got all these different versions, and each one has like more highlights than the last. Anyway, I don't know if anyone's interested, but I could
wait a second.
Yeah.
In these documents, we should get all the text messages between Dylan and Bethany that night, right?
And that's what I was thinking. Yes, we should. Right. I know.
If there's a text saying something like, I think they're murdering them or something like that, would be wild.
Yeah. And you know what? The other thing, to follow up with this about Kaylee's phone, whatever process took place with Kaylee's phone, that again, all of this stuff is going to be in here, and we're going to get to it at some point. All that's going to be in here, and we will learn all the deets. We'll learn for sure. Yeah. And you're right. If it, depending on if she had some other type of phone that can be different. So let me check. I just read sledgehammer and deposit in the army base. That's funny. Didn't over 200 to 300 people give their DNA to?
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't, if that's in here, we haven't gotten there to there yet, which we will. Yeah, you could turn off face recognition.
Just don't ever turn it on.
I mean,
I don't know why anybody would ever set that up.
Now, if you're planning on criming, as I always say, the best thing I think you can do is take your phone, leave it on, leave all the shit on, and then put it with somebody else without their knowledge even, or whatever. Put it into some other, and let it just go wherever the fuck, and then go and do your criming. Not that I'm trying to suggest how people crime. Basically, it's like the best thing you can do is leave the phone on, but then like make the phone have a completely other fucking, life that is not where the crimes are or what have you. But yeah, if you're like not expecting to be criming and you're just like going about your life, you know, what you really want to do, like if you're getting, let's just say you're getting pulled over, right? If you can buy yourself enough time to turn off airplane mode, power it off, and take the SIM card out. If it has a SIM card, I know there's eSIMs now, but okay, actually, let me clarify. Location services off, airplane mode on, and power it off. You can do that pretty quickly in the amount of time it would take to like put your flashers on and pull over, you know what I mean, in a safe fashion, because you know they want you to be safe, so you have to go slow. It will give you enough time for that. And then you would, by doing that, have put yourself in a really good position, the best you can if you've got a phone on you. Why do international iPhones get SIM cards? Do you want a SIM card?
Yes.
Twiz? Why?
So then I could take it out whenever I want.
What would you? Oh, I guess like in a situation like I'm describing.
Well, I mean, not in that situation, but it would be nice in that situation as well, you know?
I've never, it's so funny. I never thought about SIM cards until the context of like, you know, how SIM cards are involved in.
What if I want to get like an iPad with a SIM card? You know, I could just swap it rather than pay for 2 devices, you know, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know enough about how that works to like, see, I don't really even know like what a SIM card, like what does the SIM card do per se?
It basically tells your device that it has permission to communicate with the towers.
Oh, so they're basically, they're given to you by the network company that you pay or something.
Right.
Okay. I see. So like if you wanted like a free extra thing and not pay for it, you could, okay, I think I see what you're saying. Yeah. Literally, I've never done anything with my own SIM cards except for like, you know, when you get your free upgrade, they always just did that shit for you at the thing, right? And now you don't have to, but like, anyway, in any event, I've never, with my own phones, I've never even looked at the SIM cards. I literally don't even think about them. I only think about them in the context of like how they relate to these different cases and whatnot, but not in terms of like the daily functional use of a normal person. I have no idea. I didn't even, yeah, anyway, that's funny. So the international phones still get SIM cards. Interesting.
Yeah, the United States iPhones, they don't do it. But your phone still has like a cutout inside for it. They just don't have the hole on the outside.
Mm.
And then you have to ask yourself, why does Apple not want you to have SIM cards?
But is it not all
which is
phones?
why, huh?
Is it just Apple phones?
Well, yeah, that's why other companies do it too, I'm sure. But iPhones,
like an Android, do they still use them?
I don't know.
Oh, any Android?
I'm just saying, like iPhones, the international ones still get SIM cards, but the United States ones don't.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Rye. P5 fum. Right. I was wondering if that's where that was going, Miss Mojo. Oh God. Oh my God. Yeah. You know what's so funny? If someone handed me an Android and was like, here, just do anything on this phone, literally anything, I would be like, I don't know what to do with this. I would be about as useless as Mowery is with his job.
Why? They're easy.
I literally have no idea. I've only ever dealt with the iPhone. And like whenever I've seen people using an Android, I see it and I'm like, I don't understand. It just seems so different. Don't you have an iPhone, Twiz?
Yep.
Oh boy.
But I can still use Androids if I want. Just because my pit bull has Down syndrome doesn't mean I do.
Oh my God, Twiz. Oh my God. By the way, so Twiz has said, are we holding you to your word, Twiz, about your drunk live stream?
It'll happen eventually.
Eventually, he says. Great.
If I sleep tonight, then it'll happen tomorrow.
Yeah, we want you to have sleep.
Pretty much as soon as you end this, I'm gonna go shower and then go to sleep, or try to at least.
There you go. And I'll probably be working on some timestamps and also some stuff for work tomorrow. But and that reminds me, I had another thing I needed to look up. Anyway, sorry, mental note to self of a thing I was going to look up regarding arrest warrants, because the eCourts system that we have transferred over to has just made everything a whole shit show. So, anyways, the courts and technology, guys. But what I will say again, I always figure it out, unlike some people. Cough, cough, Mowery, cough, cough. Anyways, love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all of the wonderful discussion. And thanks for being outraged and or frustrated or whatever it is, that when you see something that is injustice, I appreciate that you guys recognize that. And that I wish there was more we could do, but you know what? Talking about it and raising awareness and also understanding the legal issues, right? And I think that is, at least from my perspective, one way that we can, contribute to that in terms of what matters, right? When we see injustice. So, and to be informed about it and have solid information and by which to be informed, and then also to be able to discuss it in a manner that is, reasonable and, whatever, open-minded, as I always try to say. But even if not, just hearing all the perspectives. You guys know my perspective on that. I don't need to keep talking about that, especially when I'm losing my voice. So I'm just going to stop talking and eat some cough drops. Anyways, okay. Get some sleep, Twiz. Love you guys. Y'all are the best. And Jerry Daily Brownies, that sounds delicious. Love y'all. See y'all soon. Everyone check back in tomorrow to see if Twiz is going to do a drunk live stream. I'll make sure to put something in the Discord about it.
Are we pre-funking or what?
We can, yeah. We can do a thing. You want to do a thing? You want to read more docs? Twiz?
Well, yeah, we have to go through them, don't we?
We do. Okay. We can do that. So, and what we'll do is if Twiz is going to do it, we'll set it up to redirect into the Twiz's drunk live stream. And Vonda, our new scroll friend, says, thank you. Truly enjoyed the discussion. You and Twiz are the best. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Cause we are who we are. And, I'm glad that it's having a positive effect on one person. It would make me feel like it was worth it to lose my voice and whatever else. But we love all you guys. Welcome to the Squirrel Crew for anyone who's new. Hope to see y'all next time. And for now, you want to do it, Twiz?
Squirrel out.